hands, marked hands.
Martin.
All right. So these are from Sunday's game. So this game has a mandatory straddle, 3, 5, 10, live, and so folds around. So I get a limp. There are a lot of limps in this game. This is a $1,500 game deep, and people limp all the time. It's a good game to play in. So my normal raise size against a limper is 45, and I decided to be just a tiny bit cute because this guy is doing a lot of limp folding, and so his limps are weak, and I would be perfectly happy to keep him in. So I went to 40. Not a huge difference. I don't think anybody's noticing at this game that I went to 40 instead of 45, and I got a 200 raise from the small blind, making me very happy. Fold, fold, fold. So our size, he's only got 580 left.
Yeah,
So
so he started at 116, more than that, like 150
yeah,
bigs.
no, because remember the big blind thing is wrong here. It's
Because we don't have it
because
doesn't take the straddle.
So look at his money. We go 40, he's got $580. So he started with just under 800.
Okay.
Pop
Um,
it in. Pop it all in.
Right.
I think so he's got 20 bigs. He just made a called for 20 bigs. He's got 60 bigs left, is the way I read this, right? 558 bigs left.
Yeah.
I think actually this stack depth, in theory, trapping or shoving are fine.
Right. So shoving, he's usually going to call. We're going to get all the money in and we're just going to play it out. I am not even considering calling here. I'm not considering flatting
Okay.
against him because he will call a small raise, which will commit him without him realizing he's being committed.
Yeah, I like that thinking.
So he's got to if I jam, I allow him to play correctly with his bluffs. When I call, I keep his bluffs in for cheap. And then when I raise the basic, 2.2 in position size, I get I get his money in, and keep in his bluffs.
Yeah, he's pot committed. So
And I give him a flop. I mean, I risk losing the pot.
Local 500.
do
Make it 500.
do you know anything about
Go
this
for it.
player? You've been playing with these guys for a while. Do you know
I've
anything
been
about?
playing out. This is early in the day, but I've played against him.
Okay, but no reads.
I have he plays too many hands.
Yeah, so if he plays too many hands, have you seen him take aggressive pre-flop lines before?
This is unusual for him.
So that makes his range really linear, right?
Yeah. So yeah, I expect that most of the time that I jam, he calls me here.
Okay.
I just figure that when I go 480, I meant to go 480, not 440, by the way, which that he still calls. And when that 440 when another 280 goes in, and gives him 300 left in that pot, he, I'm going to go all in on I'm going to go all in on the flop, whatever no matter what the flop is. It's the same thing. I've just gotten the extra money from him. No, Dean, I wouldn't, because with ace king suited, I'm happy to get a fold. So I'm being exploitable here. If you knew that I would only do this with aces, you could fold your kings here. But they don't know that about me, and I don't often do it. And if he had more money, I wouldn't be doing this. It's only because, so if he was deeper, I wouldn't play it this way. And if he was, if he was 200 shallower, I would just jam his last 200 because it's the same thing. I meant to go 480, and what I looked at was he went 200, and I thought, okay, I want to go. I did this. This was right. I did mean I put in 480 and I said 440 because what I meant was 440 more than what I had in. I'll put in another 440. So that was how I decided it. And then I said the words out loud 440 as I put in my 480. So that was a glitch of a mistake I wouldn't have made online that I made live, because I make a lot of mistakes live that we go over here. And so that's what happened. It makes no difference in the hand, but I remember that I said 440 and put in 480, and they said that. And I said, right, I'm putting in another 440. I went, oh, right, that's not how poker works. So anyway, he calls 345. He checks. I go all in. He calls with pocket sixes. He gets there. And
Oh
I
my God.
even get the ace as an insult. This is very early in the session. So I lose, half a buy-in, not a whole buy-in for me. So that's fine. I reach in my pocket. I put in more money. And I was up a little bit when we were at this point. I was already to 1,800 from a $1,500 buy-in. So it's like, all right. Didn't break my spirit, played on. The next hand, this is,
Let me ask you a quick question.
yes.
Do you turn over your aces or you just milk them?
Oh,
Did he force you to turn over? Not force you.
yeah,
Did he wait for you to
it
turn
was
over?
my turn. I turned over first.
Okay.
First of all, I assumed I had won. I just turned him over. It's like, maybe you have the diamonds. And so I was very,
Do you ever hear in the situation, do you ever kind of see if he gets excited and turn over his card so you can mock, or do you just whatever?
I'm not hiding the fact I have aces.
I
Okay.
always fast roll just to
Yeah.
make the players more comfortable.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
You know,
Yeah.
like just like I'm in the customer service department here, so I do everything I can to make people happy at the table.
Yeah. And if it's clear that the rule is it's his turn to go over first, like if you've just called him and he says nothing, I don't throw my hand over quickly.
Okay, another quick question for you. Are
I think-
you allowed to run it twice?
I've never seen anyone do it at this game.
Okay.
If I did and we turned over our hands pre-flop, I would go, would you like to run it twice? I would like to run it twice. So we played through you. I'm skipping all the hands in the middle for now, just with this to also see it. I'm 20 minutes from leaving. It's time for me to leave. I've built up to 3,600. I probably put in another 400 there, along the way from my pocket. So I'm up. I'm very happy. I look at this and it's like, oh, good. Things are going to end well for me.
So
The
you
aces.
open to 30.
30 is my standard size for all things. Get 100. This is a competent player who does 3-bet, like that. And we then get this from someone who is not a competent player. And the last time we were in this situation, my 3-bet was too small, because my 3-bet here from out of position against him with aces deep is going to be 2.7, right? I'm going to go to 270 out of position.
Yeah.
250 to 270. He
Yeah, I was
puts
thinking
the extra
250.
100. What size do you guys want to go?
Yeah, this is always a tough spot for me because I'm not sure if I should increase the size by the betting unit or use big blinds and go smaller. But
Right.
I would go to 350 here.
I'd go
Okay.
4.5.
Yeah,
Okay.
as deep as you are, you want to increase your 3-bets, 4-bet sizes, as opposed to if you're 100 big blinds deep, you want to increase that number,
Right.
that factor.
Yeah, but
So
you're
we are
3,000
actually
big
think the
blinds deep,
opposite.
so go 4.5 is
Yeah.
what I'm thinking.
I
Right.
think 4.5 is
100
fine. Plus, you don't want to be multi-way with aces. I think you guys have a good point in going bigger.
Right. So two things here. One is just want to point out we're 150 big blinds deep, not 300. That's a vestigial thing because we're playing 3, 5, 10.
Yeah.
Okay. So like that. So that can push it up. And then to Larry's point, the problem is I don't think there is any size that if this guy calls, I don't think you can get this heads up. You can
Okay.
take it or you can get it, it's up to him whether it's heads up or not. If he likes his hand enough for 100, when this guy called, like, let's say he's got queen jack suited and he was putting in 100. if you raise and this guy folds, you might lose the queen jack suited. But if this guy calls, then this guy gets priced in again in his mind.
Yeah, plus he doesn't really matter as much
No,
because he's
it doesn't
playing
matter.
50 bigs.
Yeah, he doesn't matter.
Got 50 bigs behind.
So we've got 350, we've got 400, and we've got 500 out there. Those are the sizes. I had made the mistake in a previous game of deciding that I was going to go 270, and when this 100 came in here, didn't think about it and went 270 again. So I was very aware of that and thought 270 is not enough. So the number is now going to be somewhere between 270, but it's going to be more than 270, and 370 is enough if I increase it by this unit. So I wasn't thinking about 400 or 500. I was thinking,
Oh no, I think that's a blunder.
okay, because
Well,
I think you need to make it more like maybe 450.
okay,
What's your argument?
Because you need to at least make it a pot size raise. So that's probably like, plus you're going to be out of position, plus you're deep.
Mhm.
So all those things say over 4. I mean,
okay,
430 at the very minimum, probably 450.
okay. So I think we've heard everybody's opinion on it. I did 315, which was which was slightly more than half of the difference between 270 and 370. And I got what I wanted.
Nice.
At this point, I think this guy has aces. I think we both have aces
Yeah.
because I think he's going bigger with kings here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because-
This is a very
but why
interesting
why
strategy.
would they get rid of the small blind call? I mean, the big blind.
Because he wants to get more. Because have all the money. He'd like this guy to, he'd like to get this guy's last dollars in there too, but he really just wants to get against my pocket kings in his mind, or my ace king, whatever. He wants to,
Mhm.
he doesn't want me to fold when he has aces. Because
Question for
this
you
bet-
guys.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you, Scotty.
Okay.
Am I nitty that I don't want to take aces heads up? I mean, I don't want to take aces multi-way. Is that nitty? I mean, I
No,
really
it's
wanna
not
go-
nitty. It's good, but sometimes you have no choice because of the
Yeah.
order in which things happen. That's what I
Yeah.
was saying to your bet before. There are a lot of times when it goes raise, call, re-raise, and now you're looking at here and you go, I got to bet big enough to get heads up against this guy. I totally agree. But when
Yeah.
it goes raise, re-raise, and he called, which remember, there's no GTO calling range here at all. He should
Yeah,
never call here.
He's a fish. Yeah.
Right. But when he does that, if I bet big enough to get, there is a bet that this guy might fold. Like if I just go all in, they both might fold, right?
Yeah.
Optimal with aces, but not bad. We don't know what hand he's calling with. We don't know if he's got ace king. If I jam and he's got pocket tens, he might fold and this guy call with ace king. That'd be great. We'd love that. But when we bet an amount that this guy will sometimes call, who has all the money, we can't help but to price this guy in,
Yeah. That's valid.
if that's his view. That's what I was saying is I think your move is totally valid. In this arrangement, I don't think you can do it. It's up to him whether you can.
Okay. Gotcha.
And my size doesn't matter. And the reason we know this is because he goes all in.
Okay.
So if I go 500, he's in also. The question is whether this guy's in. And I'd rather have this guy in than this guy.
Yeah.
And if a choice between neither and both, I think I'd rather have both.
Another question here. Are you running into the partial bet rule here?
No,
You're
I
not
can,
because the
yeah.
initial raiser was not.
yeah, I can re-raise over him easy.
Yeah. Got it.
I do, I jam. And he calls. And I'm thinking it's very likely we are going to chop up this guy's money. When the flop comes Jack 6-5,
That's
I'm
fun.
not miserable. I have the ace of clubs. This is not a 9 on the turn. The turn was a queen. Oh, that reversed these two. Oh no, it was 9 and then queen. When the queen comes on the river, he didn't turn over his hand, by the way, pre-flop. This is a game where people don't turn over their hands when they're all in till the river. When the queen came, I was very upset. I thought these are The only hand I'm left beating is kings. So,
Yeah.
so that's what happened. And then I played for another 20 minutes before I went home, and I was very unhappy. And I did not tilt, I believe, in my play, but I felt it in my face. I was miserable.
Yeah, this is horrible.
Why?
Um,
Because it was the last hand, right? Something I
Last,
said.
it was the last 2 rounds before I went
Okay.
home.
Is can I argue that the competent player is maybe confident, but he's quite a gambler.
Yeah.
I mean,
I-
he. I would fold jacks. So where would I? So okay, I can get behind his cold 4, which I think is a bluff with jacks.
Yeah, he should have known it's a bluff.
And here, when you essentially shove, this is he's 80-20.
I'm shoving into a protected pot.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that means.
He can't, here's why. Let's say that I have a bluff here, like ace 5 suited.
Yeah.
Let's have like 10% of bluff with ace 5 suited here.
Yeah.
When I bluff it, I can only get him to fold. This guy cannot fold.
Okay.
So I'm throwing in another 305 chips, 295 against this guy who has already called the 295.
Yeah.
So I
So
have
it's
to get
protected in the sense that in sometimes it would be called dead money, right? I mean, he's already
Protected in a sense that it's never a bluff.
I can't bluff.
okay.
I
I
can't
got you.
bluff.
Okay.
When I have
Oh, I see your point. I see your
That's
point.
what I mean.
Okay, thanks, guys.
this guy knows. So if I have kings here, I might want to jam to try to get him to fold an ace and be against this guy's queens or this guy's jacks or whatever the hell this guy has.
Mhm.
But I can never have ace 5 suited and do this.
I see your point because it's a protected pot. I got it. It's
Right.
protected in the sense that you have no fold equity against big blind.
I have no fold equity and it's not like the big blind called for 200 and I can win another 400 on top of it.
Okay.
I can't win anything for this. I'm risking 961 chips to win, to never be able to bluff this guy out.
Gotcha.
Right. And this guy
Ah.
should have seen that and said that, and seen that the hands that make sense with this massively are aces, kings, and queens. Makes sense.
Yeah. I would
And-
argue queens is a call here. This guy is cut off his gambling.
He is. And so now when we look at this situation, both the situations with the sixes and with this, where in both times you guys said, I bet too small. And certainly if I'd bet bigger, I would have won both hands. But don't I want to be in this situation here? Isn't this perfect for me?
Yes,
This is,
you want to be 80-20 all day.
but I got
Yeah.
in this situation. And this is what I
Yeah,
want.
yes, that's a great situation. However, when you make it small and then he just calls in position. I mean, yes, you got what you wanted. You wanted him to come over the top, but by using a smaller 4-bet size or 5, whatever
Yeah.
part of the tree we were on there,
Five.
you incentivize them to then call in position and you give them their it's positional advantage. Whereas, when you make it a larger 3-bet or 4-bet, when you're that deep,
Right.
then you eliminate some of that positional advantage they're going to have when you allow them to call.
Right.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
but the
Oh,
small
if
blind
he
is
just-
gonna
if he
mostly
played
shove,
correctly-
right?
Yeah. If he played correctly, what would have happened was he would call the 315. This guy would probably call the 315. And then this guy would get to see his jack before he got all his money in. And he probably could get all his money in because I have the ace of clubs.
Yeah.
Because I can't tell whether he has queens, kings, or ace jack here by the way he played it.
Yeah, this is some run bad.
Yeah. So if he had played better, he would have won the hand he would have gotten all my money in a much better way for him. And maybe not all my money. 965. How big is the flop? Probably all my money. Anyway, okay. So who's got a hand here now?
I've got a hand if anybody wants to see it.
I think the first one is we got skate.
I got
Skate's
a
up.
Okay,
hand.
sure.
Okay. I think I'm sharing.
Yep, I can see your
Yep,
ace ten
I
suited.
see ace 10.
Okay. Let me see how I can.
Yep, we can't hear you though, Skate.
Okay, you're on
You're,
mute.
yeah, you're on mute.
Okay, there you go. I don't know what's going on, so I'm just gonna put myself on
Okay.
talking mode for the rest of the hand. Okay, so this is a hand I think I may have played incorrectly. It's a light hand where I used to play 1-2. Um, and it's more like an emotional hand. So I played this hand because this other opponent, he got me with the backdoor flush draw. So I kind of want to do the same. So let's go. I'm in the small blind.
Mhm. Not a good mindset, Gate.
Yeah.
Nope, nope, that is not GTO.
I know, I
That
know.
is tilt. That is monkey tilt.
That is
I,
TTO.
after
Tilt
it was
fully up.
over, I even told him, this exact
Yep.
reason, and then we just continued playing
Okay.
as normal. And then okay, so we got limp party, right? I think I remember limp party.
Yeah.
Yep, limp from low jack dealer, and then what do I do? Okay, ISO 10.
That's fine.
We
I might
got
go a little bigger, Skate, depending how you, because you've got that. So you put in 5 bigs and there's 2 limpers. I might go up to $12 or $15 because,
Mhm.
and also I'm playing out of position. So I probably would go 15 here.
What's the rake here?
like I'm stupid, so like I don't know. I think it's like it's probably like a dollar, $2, one for the drop, and then the one for the jackpot, I think.
Plus other money coming on. What
Yeah,
state? Where are you playing, Skate?
in Florida.
Florida. Okay, yeah, I don't know what the rigs are there. Okay.
Yeah,
I'd make it 17 here.
Oh.
Like,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, 12 minimum, more like 15 to, yeah, should be bigger out of position in particular.
Yeah, 17. Five, like 5 big blinds is a disaster.
So the thing, Skate, is
Yeah.
when these guys do their normal opening raise, when they raise, is this a game where people normally raise to 5, to 8, or to 10? What's the most common just open raise size?
From what I remember, it should be mostly 10.
Right.
Yeah.
In a GTO world, this would be, this raise would be to 6 or 5, but that's not how they play. They play 10 all the time. I've played in, the game like this, the 1-2 and the 1-1-2-2. 10 is the standard size and sometimes 15. So therefore, I'm not saying you should play like your opponents, but you need to know how they think. If you're going to get any folds from ace 10 suited, then when you raise to 10, that's just a normal raise size to them. And they were willing to put this in when they limped. They were expecting to get raised to 10. So all it does is increase the size of the pot. That's good. You have the best hand. Out of position, that's not good. The theory puts you at least at 12 because you have to be 6 for the, 6, 3 times the button, the last better, plus all the dead money in the pot. 6, 8, 10, counting the big blind, plus another unit for being out of position. That brings you to 12. So 12 is your minimum in theory. And then knowing that these guys don't respect a 10 and your goal is to not take this hand 3-way post flop. You may have no choice, but it's not your goal when you do a raise here with ace 10 suited. Therefore, you have to go even bigger for the big boy sizes. And that's where they're moving you to 15 and 17. That's the way to think about how those numbers got inflated.
Maybe,
Yeah.
But you go to 10.
oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Really what you want to think about is you, you prefer to take it down free, of course, but without that, you really want to be heads up. You want one of these guys to fold. So you want a size that's going to fold at least one guy out.
Right.
And so sometimes that's 20. You really want to feel out your game. I mean, in my game, it's $20
Right.
when I'm playing at with $200. I got to put in $20 here to take a heads up.
No, definitely. I mean, and also if they're limping, they're not gonna fold. Nobody's gonna fold to a regular opening size.
Yeah.
For a more. So, I mean, I
And while
mean,
these,
yeah.
yep.
No,
And while
this,
five is too big an open, it is a too big open, for the rest, if they're choosing to do this, they're used to that, so you know how they respond to that.
The way to think about it maybe is that, I mean, so like, for instance, when you were doing that trainer hand where you called out that trainer had, the villain trainer had a lot of eights that he was going to play this way. I mean, that was awesome, dude. And heads up, you can do that. Heads up, you can begin to range just like you successfully ranged in that trainer hand. But when you're multi-way, you're just not. It's very hard to understand ranges.
yeah, I need to practice the spot a lot more and
Right.
yeah, not be in it and yeah.
And then we'll just say, this is just to quote the great Matt Affleck, being out of position sucks. Being out of position to two players doubly sucks. Sucks twice as much. Sucks squared.
Yeah,
Mm.
sage advice from the app.
Yeah. And then the thing Larry's pointing out is you really want to get heads up against one of these players, and you have a reasonable chance to. When you go because this guy's range is weaker than this guy's range. But if the way this hand had gone was, if this had gone raise, call, and when you do your size here, the size that this guy ever calls, it's hard to get a size that this guy calls and this guy folds to. Just because once this guy calls, this guy gets what he can perceives as odds. So you can't always succeed at doing it, but you can make them overpay. All right. So you go to 10. Let's move on.
Yep, this guy calls and I'll see who the main villain is.
Yep.
Now after the flop, because I do not remember. All right, so we get this flop. Out of position to two players, so I imagine I check. I have that backdoor spade draw, which is nice. So
Backdoor straight draw too.
a flush draw, excuse me, and a straight draw too.
Flush draw and a straight draw. Yeah, both.
Huh? Any
Jack queen.
Jack queen?
Jack queen. That's the nuts. You're drawing to the nuts in both directions. I like it.
True. Okay, so we get a check. We get a bet here. So this is the villain here, the V. 25 into what was pre-flop this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, okay. What do you do? What do you think you should do? I don't need to talk.
Okay, so I really don't have any relevant draws here at the moment on the flop. Like I said, I wanted to kind of get that backdoor on him, so I call. And then
So
he
I'm not
folds.
sure about this spot. What do people think about? This is a very large bet multi-way from in position.
Yeah,
You're
I'm just done with the hand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I think this is really close.
I don't
Yeah,
think
This
it's
is
close.
such a big bet
Yeah,
in 1-2.
I see
Is-
your point. It is a
Is
big
this
bet.
where I played incorrectly on the flop?
The
Yeah.
bet is too big to call with backdoors. You
Yeah,
need backdoor to call against that size.
Yeah, I'm just done with
backdoor's
the
in an
hand.
over.
I think it's close. I think it's not so bad.
I was
Okay.
like, yeah, maybe I was like, oh yeah, I have that over.
I mean, so multi-way, he should be playing more honestly. Generally, people play more straight up multi-way. I
Yeah.
mean, a good player is going to have some bluffs here, but I think you really have to understand your opponent. If your opponent has any bluffs, then maybe you can call. Otherwise, I think you fold. I
Yeah,
think
this is
Scotty, you're in the fold school here, right?
I'm in the fold school because you're not even closing the action.
Yeah, that's valid. I think it's close,
Yeah.
but I think fold is good too.
I
Yeah,
mean,
like fold.
there are draws available, and at that point, I was going to bring up that which I was thinking about throughout this session is when I lost that kings versus jacks, they flopped that set on the flop. And how do you think population like live mostly is playing the flop when there's a flush draw and they have that flush draw? I don't think they're really taking a big size here, right? They're not playing that way.
I think it
Nope.
depends on the player. There's players in my pool that will make this bet with a flush draw. There's players in my pool that are ready to get it all in with the multi-draw, which is, fine.
Yeah.
Like their queen jack of clubs, queen
Yeah.
10 of clubs, jack
Hmm.
10 of clubs, they're gonna get that in.
Okay.
So
If
Yeah.
So if he bet 10 here, I'm call all day. Mike, you think that 25 is not too big to call.
I think it's borderline. I think it's still okay. I think you can continue and it not be a huge mistake.
Okay. And Larry, you're also on team continue, right?
I think it's really close.
Okay.
I
That's
think
where
it's
we
really
are.
close.
I think it
So
depends on
let's
how
do it.
well the dealer button plays. If he plays poorly, then if you think like, will he pay you off when we hit the nuts?
Yeah. I think he was playing poorly because I think there was a hand before, like I mentioned, that
Yeah.
he shouldn't have
Okay.
been in much, and then he was in. So I was like, okay, let me just donk it out and do the same.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
I
if you
mean, if
think
he's
you have the
playing poorly,
implied
I would
odds of
say
his
that he's
bad
probably
play,
playing more face up. So he probably most likely is holding as a king here.
And
Yeah.
Dean, are you on team check raise? Or are you trying to tell Larry that he's on team check raise? Dean typed in Larry
No,
on
I
team.
I was just messing with Larry.
Oh, okay.
He
Gotcha.
likes his check
None of us,
raise.
none of us are on team check raise here, right?
No, I'm not checking this.
Okay, good.
Yep.
Yeah, not
But
multi-way.
I'm glad Dean
Not
thinks
with
that I
this
picked the right.
particular hand. I think like a queen jack or a queen 10 maybe might
let's
be
have
a
a
Want the
queen
decent check
ace
eighth
raise.
ace
moved
come on
out.
the turn.
Oh, yeah, turn them into clubs and just be happy to
Or
get
the
it.
back doors, the
Yeah.
spades.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I'm
well,
glad
definitely.
Dean thinks that I'm capable of check raising.
Yeah. Okay, so you call, move on.
They fold, so we get that
Jack folds,
4.
that's good.
Yep, they fold. So we're heads up
Yeah.
against this guy, which I want. I need my chips my chips back before I leave the room.
How can we have you unthink that? Like, how can we have you not think about this being a personal game? I'm gonna be honest with you here, Skate. The more you think about this as like a personal battle between you and Button, the worse you're gonna play.
Yep,
The
that's a
farther
really
and
bad
farther
spot
you're
for
gonna
me.
get away from strategy.
No, I
You
know, and
just
believe
don't want to care. You just don't want to give a fuck about what happened 5 hands ago. You just don't want to. What you do want to do is take away an understanding of how he plays strategically.
Yeah.
But just don't make it personal, man. It's gonna really cost you in the long run.
Yep.
I agree.
I know this was probably the only hand. That's why I posted it within
Right.
the whole 3 or 4 months that I played live, and I was a winning player. That I was like, okay, I kind of want my chips back here, buddy.
Gotcha. Okay, so let's finish this hand and then we'll talk some more about that mindset. And it's good that you did. It's not a common one that you have, so that's good.
Yep, definitely not.
Right. Okay.
So I check here, of course, out of position, and they bet 75 here, and so they bet big again.
So
All right.
he's spending 75 into 82. What is it, like a B80?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
think
he's got 215 behind. You're gonna get there 20% of the time.
20% with the over? Yeah, that's a good point.
Oh, with the over. No, you're gonna do better. But we don't know that the over is good. It just
No, we
might.
don't.
I don't know it's good.
Yeah,
probably
maybe.
doesn't have
We
ace
block ace
king.
king. Yeah, we block ace
No,
king.
we think the over is good. He could have 9-8 this whole time.
So he's
Mm.
offering you about 30% pot odds, a little
Yeah.
bit more. And you're gonna get there 19%, 19% of the time.
Yep.
So you're not getting pure odds. So now you gotta think about implied odds. So, and that comes down to how much he's got 215 left behind in a pot of 157.
Yeah.
Feeling pretty Geo. A little bit bigger.
And do you have fold equity if you shove now?
Nope.
Yeah, he's got this smells like a king all day or better.
Yeah.
Can you
King,
shove him
queen,
off a
spades.
king?
Nope.
Probably not.
He bet
Probably.
big
He
on-
bet so big on the flop. I don't think you have that much fold equity.
No, he bet big on flop and then he bet big on flop and then he bet big on turn. And he's just not.
So
In a pot
on
story
the other
tomorrow.
hand, will he be able to fold his king when you make your flush? I would say, is he
No.
good enough player to to fold his king? I'd say probably not.
Probably not, because if he was, then we could bluff almost any card on the river.
Yeah. So I think that if he can't fold his king, then you have implied odds because he'll pay you off if you hit your flush. Does that make
So,
sense?
oh,
That's
sorry,
my
Derek.
thoughts.
Yeah. Okay. So skate. Before you make this call, you're thinking about what happens if you hit your hand, right? So
Yep.
is your plan, if the river comes a blank spade, and by blank spade I mean not the king of spades. Every other spade is blank. The 9 is a little not blank, but any spade but the king of spades, is your plan to jam or to check and try to check raise? You should probably be thinking about that in advance.
Yeah, but I mean,
So looking at the hand now, what would you like to do if a blank spade comes off on the river?
I, th- I mean, because I called the big bet on the flop and on the turn, I feel like I just don't want him to. I wouldn't want him to check back on the river.
Okay.
I think that would it would be devastating.
Yeah,
So
it would invalidate your implied odds that you needed. So
yeah,
with that in mind, your plan is to bet out on the river on a spade, is that right?
yes. Hmm.
And are you going to bet all in?
Mm, I don't think I was thinking about that at the time. I was not. I was just probably thinking more about which strategy if a spade comes or an ace on the river.
So think about it now. We're in this situation and he bets it, and you're considering whether or not to call with your draw, and you know one more street is coming and your head's up and you're out of position. So what would looking at it now, before you do the call, what do you want to do on a blank spade?
Okay, so I have what says here 215 behind. If I call, I'm gonna have just about like 140 something.
140 exactly. Yep.
Yeah, 140, and then yeah, so and the pot is gonna be like um yeah, like another like 210 around there. 15, I think,
Yeah.
17. Uh, so like yeah, it's like SPR is gonna be like closer to 1 to 1. So yeah, I should jam. I don't think that's what I did. I
Right.
don't think.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're gonna do so let me go a little further now. So your plan on a spade that isn't the king of spades, we can talk about the king of spades separately or just see if it comes. But your plan is to jam on a spade. Gotcha. I like that. Do you think he's gonna what do you think if his hand is if his hand is king jack, and I'm gonna give him, just for fun, I'm gonna give him the king of diamonds, jack of hearts. That's his hand. He's got a whole range, but when he has king jack, do you expect to get called uh, by that when you jam? And you don't have to
Uh,
be sure. You can say like half the time or whatever, but what's your expectation here? What are you thinking? That's what we're getting to, Dean. We're
I,
leading up to this question.
I'm thinking that the backdoor spade draw is gonna be like it's gonna be kind of like they're not gonna expect that, so it's not gonna be. I mean, I just don't know what they would put me on if I would jam. So maybe they would put me on like on a missed flush draw, but like again, like they're betting so big here on the flop and turn, like there's like no fold equity that I see either way.
Okay, so you think, so this is the important thing that you want to be thinking about now.
Okay.
So you think that you are probably going to get called on the river by his king when he has a king here s- with your
Yeah.
bluff, right? Not with your bluff, with your jam. Great.
Yeah.
So this informs that if a club comes, whether or not you should be bluffing the club. And the answer is no, because you think he'll call you. So if you if you thought it was 50-50 that he was going to call, then you want to probably also be be betting all in with a spade and hoping that's the 50 of it, and also bluffing all in with a club. But if you think that he's going to be calling you almost all the time with a spade, then you probably don't want to jam the club, although the club is more believable. The club is more obvious, so maybe you can do it. But
Because
here's what I mean is you should be thinking before you make this call what you're going to do on the other rivers. What are your bluffs? What are those? And do you have enough of them? Just so you're not stuck reanalyzing the hand on the river.
right, what I'm gonna do on river cards.
Right. And specifically, what are you going to do on an ace? And what are you going to do on the ace of hearts?
Right.
And so let me just ask you that question before you make your move. We know that you're going to jam your spades when a spade comes. We haven't decided whether you're going to jam on a club, because you say he's going to call me with his king because spades are backdoor, but he's going to fold the king because the clubs are front door, and that might be true. He might. What do you want to do on an ace?
On ace, I'm gonna go for some thinnest value, and probably fold to a jam, because like, I mean, the only two pair combos that they could have pre-flop, I believe, are king nine of spades, king nine of clubs, and king nine of diamonds.
Also
So
9-8. They can have 9-8 easily.
yeah, you're right, 9-8 too as well.
He limped, you raised, not a big amount. The other guy called. He was getting massive pot odds for his 9-8.
Correct. Yeah, maybe I was thinking about it if it wasn't a limp pot. So yes, yeah, you're right. 9-8. If he comes with those, maybe one less combo because spade is it.
Yep. And pocket four.
And pocket four as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
You're right.
Those are
You're right.
that he can have.
Yeah, on a double flush draw board, they
Right.
Yeah.
So now when the ace comes, the thing you said you wanted to do, and we're going to make it's going to be the ace of diamonds. It's not going to bring anything in. The ace of diamonds comes. You're saying you want to bet something and then fold to a jam. So when you do that, the pot is going to be 225, right? Because that 157 counts as 75. Go back one step before he bets the 75. I just want to see how it calculates this. Yeah, 41. Great. So he goes in, he bets a 75. So when you call this, there's going to be another 75 in the pot. So there's going to be 230. And you have 140 left. What size are you going to bet that isn't all in on that ace?
Yeah.
Are you going to bet 70 into, are you going to bet 70 into 230? Are you going to bet a third pot and then fold for another 70?
Yeah, I take it back. I probably should not bet on the ace. I mean, as for the reasons of the hands we mentioned.
Yeah.
I'm out of position. I have the positional disadvantage.
Yeah.
Pot odds are like half of what I said. Yeah, I mean, I was just really hoping for the spade.
Yeah, hoping for the spade. But it's just now all these thoughts that we just talked about. I have this whole list of things. I would like you, and I don't care if you get them right at this point. I want you, next time this comes, I want you to just think through going, what do I want to do on a spade? What do I want to do on a club? What do I want to do on an ace? Before you think at all about what I want to do to this guy because I want to get my chips back. If you get in that habit before you think about my chips back, you're never going to get to my chips back. And that's where we want to be. Because you know that all the things I've just listed are more important than getting your chips back.
Right.
And I want to say, I have those feelings too. I was looking at those white chips that guy took from me, wanting them back. And we played one more hand where I won $140 or something, and I won some red chips. And as they came back, I said, "Oh, my little friends, you're back home." So I was feeling it. And I said it in the form of a joke, but I was feeling it. And all those feelings, if those go first, they get in the way of what do I want to do on a spade? What do I want to do on an ace? Do I want to bluff a club? Do I think he's going to fold a king? Is he going to fold? Is he going to call the back door, is he going to call the back door, but fold the front door? Are all those things true? I don't know the answers to any of them, But those are the things I need to think about, along with what is his range. Does he have king 9? Does he have 9-8? Is the only two pair he has, 9-8? Could he have king king? No, because of the way the hand played out, but he could have 4-4. All those thoughts that are valuable need to come first. All right, let's play it out.
Let's do it. Okay, river is the deuce of spades. So I get there as the
Good.
title.
And what did you do?
I think I remember betting. I think I bet. Let's see what size I bet. Probably a stupid size because that was so emotional. Yep, I left. Oh yeah, I left.
Yep.
Not much behind, but
Can't do that. Gotta bet the full 140. There's nothing that he folds to. There's nothing that he calls for 100 that he doesn't call for 140 in a pot this size.
Anytime you
Yeah.
leave a little money back like this, sometimes, I mean,
yeah,
it looks
mistake.
pretty nutted.
Right. Basically, you with everything else you played in this hand, at the very end, at the end of the hand, what you did was you took $40 and you ripped it up.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't want him to fold. I mean, he tanked for like a minute, so he must have had a pretty decent hand here, originally. So, yeah, I just didn't want to fold. But
Yeah.
the pot being what it is,
Yeah.
I should have jammed.
Right. And what did he do? After a minute?
He called.
Good.
He didn't show.
I'm glad you got the money. Do you think, and I made a statement here, so let's see if you think it's true, because you were sitting there at the game, you saw the guy in this, you looked in his face. Do you think that he folds for 140 ever, but not folding for 100? Do you think that $40 made a difference to him? You don't have to be right.
No.
What do you think?
I mean,
Because we can only go with what we think. And
Once
as
I-
we go on,
Okay, so like once I call, so the pot right now is what 232, and I have 140 behind. So it's like I'm betting less, and I'm betting like what is it, Scotty? The percentage 150,
so 100 is less than half the pot.
75%, or what am I betting?
100 is like 40%. Let's see, it's 100 with the 30 is not third. So 100 is like 80% of the pot. I'm doing that math very badly. I want to point out my number is wrong. Half the pot would be 116. 16 is 16%. So it's 84% of the pot. That's what you bet, Scotty says.
That's what okay, 84.
Now, if you bet the full amount,
Which, yeah,
I said 84%. No, it's half that. It's half that.
like 40. What?
It's 42. Yeah. How do I do math so bad?
No.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
It's 42% of the pot. And if you go all in, it's not 40. Why am I?
no, it's not. It should be, so half. It's probably half. Okay, so half. Got to do it half right? So half of
Yeah, it's
200 is 100,
42 versus 58.
Thank you.
and
It's
then
42.
half of that is
So at least I got the 42 right. Thank you, Mike.
okay. Okay, so of what I bet, right?
You bet 42%, and we're
And
saying you bet 58%, meaning all the money you have left.
all the money. Okay.
Do you think he is inelastic to that difference? Meaning he will call the same hands that he bet that for 100 that he calls for 140. What do you think?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Right?
You think he's going to fold some 140, some to 140 that he doesn't fold to 100?
I mean, the pot being what it is and the way this hand was played, I mean, I just won't see it now, in retrospect.
All right. In that case, if you think that he's, then you have one more question, which is a hard question, and it's a math question, which is how much more often? And this is when you don't know. But if he's going to, for the extra $40, if he is going to fold, like, let's say that he calls his ace king, his king, he calls all his two pairs, but he folds king seven of hearts that he's here with if you go all in, and he calls if you go 100. If you count the number of hands that it is, you can look at it and you can find out that even though he folds sometimes more, the extra $40 is more than the times you don't. So for example, if he calls you 75% of the time for if he calls you 100% of the time for 140 and 75% of the time for 100, then then the way you do those is you multiply those two numbers together, and whichever is bigger is better. 75 times 100, 75% of 100 is $75. That bet is worth that. And I'm sorry, I did it wrong. 100% of 100 is worth $100, and 75% of $140 is worth 115, and 115 is more than 100. So even if he folds 25% of the time more to 140, you make $15 more. So that makes the jam even better. He has to fold 33, about 40% more to the 140 than to the 100 before it costs you money.
Yeah, you could do this in Equilab too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the 60, I am wrong, by the way. The number is not 40%. The number is
A little bit higher, no?
no, the number is 30. If he folds 40, if he folds really, he only calls 60%, then the $100 bet is better. It's right around 60. It's right around 66, 62, some number like that I'm not doing in my head right. But I don't think that's true. I believe that if he folds anything to the 140 that he doesn't fold to the 100, it's maybe 10% of hands, maybe at most.
So I played the hand.
It's a lot of money, and it's $40 more. That
Yeah,
40 is not what's making his decision.
I played it wrong on the. So I played it a little bit. I went small on pre-flop.
Yep.
Which sucked, but whatever. On the flop,
You might have overpaid for this draw on
I
the
may
flop.
have.
Yeah.
Okay, it was questionable on the flop,
Yep.
and then on the turn, I think I didn't have enough odds to
Okay.
really call to the size, right, as we mentioned.
So
Too
we
often.
are going to do one more thing with this hand,
And then the river.
which is
So I played really bad.
okay. I'm going to look at one more thing on this hand. Go share. Okay. We're going to make the hand completely different in one way, just to see what your odds are. The ranges are not the same, but just to see on this draw, which is we're going to go to peak. Here we go. We are in the peak trend. So we're going to be, how many big blinds deep were we when we started this? Not big blinds, sorry. He has, how much money does he have to start the hand, Skate?
I think he had 325, and I had. Let me see.
Okay, he had 320.
Yeah, and I had 250.
250. Okay, so 250 is the effective stack. So, and with if the $10 bet, I think that if we look at it this way, he raises in the cutoff. I think this is going to give us a little bit of an insight here. Yeah. I got logged out. We're just look at if that hand is good enough to go forward for that size. When he raises here,
You don't want to do 200 big blinds deep?
no, because because your rate, you get to the 10. If you 3-bet, yeah, let's try it that way. Let's do it as a 3. Let's do it with your 3-bet, and then you check. Okay, so here's the 200.
That's pre-flop only.
It is?
Oh,
Yeah, there's no posting to.
Well, then screw that. All right. Okay, so if I give you a call here, which has ace 10 suited in it, good. There's your call. There's your fold. The flop is king of spades. Read me the flop again, Derek. I'm sorry, read me the flop again, Skate.
king and the 9 of clubs and the 8 of
King, nine,
spades.
and
Yeah,
eight of
and
spades.
yeah.
Okay, there we go.
But it was low jack limp and a button call, right? And then I
Okay.
was limp low jack and okay.
Yes. Pete just got weird at me. Let me go to poker coaching. Log into poker coaching. I'm not supposed to have a daily limit. Okay, there. Go from poker coaching, make it me. Okay, that's me, right? Yes. Now peak.
It doesn't, you might want to hit the top right, because it doesn't think you've got the count they gave you. Yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't think it has the count that they gave you.
That's what it doesn't think. One last time here, and then we're going to give up. We're very close to giving up. Pokercoaching.com. This is me, right? My account. Yes, this is me. Go to peak from poker coaching. Yep. Scott. It is pokercoaching.com. Yeah. All right. It's I gotta tell them that I need more peakiness.
Well, because I see a ymail.com instead of
Yeah,
Gmail.
it is there, but that's the thing.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. So we're done with this. All right. Anybody got one? Mike, do you want to burn one in just GTO wizards, since I already burned all my GTO wizards for the morning?
You'll have to walk me through what we're
Okay.
looking at.
What we're gonna do is simply this. So let me share your screen. I'm gonna unshare my screen. Stop share. There we go. We're gonna make a synthetic hand here just to see. You can do 150 big blinds deep, right? Because when he was at 10, yeah, 150. So cutoff raises. We defend the small blind with a call. We have ace 10 suited here, right? Yep, good. That's what we need. Big blind folds. Actually, we can get three-way. Okay, pre-flop only.
I would just look at six max.
All right, six max. Our level of struggling with this hand is ridiculous.
Pre-flop only, you said?
No, post-flop included on the six max. Let's see if we can get that. And if not, we're going to put ourselves in the big blind in a second. So cutoff raise.
It was like low jack limp and button call.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right,
we
but
don't have that.
the cutoff was who you went
You
up
wanna
against.
you wanna make sure I don't think small blind will have, flats here. Mine.
No, it was small blind versus dealer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
you
got
got
flats.
flats.
We got flats. Okay. King of clubs, nine of clubs,
8 of spades.
eight of spades.
You got a lot of checks.
Right, we check.
Yeah, but
He
the
goes
hand,
4.5.
but we're not playing the hand pre-flop like it was played. It doesn't
No, we're
matter.
not. We're just looking at
Okay,
this. We're looking at
okay.
a different thing, not
This
the
is
range.
as close as we're gonna get.
Yeah.
Okay.
When he goes 75, we're just looking at is the back door worth it on the ace 10?
Doesn't
This is comparable.
No.
So no.
The thing when you guys were saying is it was close, this gives us that answer.
Yeah, it does. Can
Yeah.
you, especially multi-way, can you go look at, you had what? You had, spades?
Yeah. Now,
Can you
also,
Yeah.
and then go to EV? Let's see how much it,
yeah,
how
see how,
close.
how much did it cost you?
Yeah, so if you go to like EV
Yep.
and then go back to the combo we had
I mean, I kind of knew
and
that. That's
then
why. Yeah.
highlight it, we can see what the EV difference is. Yeah. So I'm sorry, it scrolled off the screen.
Yeah, we don't see your call.
Yeah, it's a bad call, but it's not egregious.
Right. But now make his bet. Give him a two. Give him make his bet 2 instead of 30 instead of 75. And now a backdoor straight, backdoor flush, and an overcard. Going back to strategy, let's see, do we ever call it now? You can just switch from EV to strategy on the left tab.
0 EV call.
0.
Right. Yeah.
Probably gonna mix.
But now you can play it.
Yeah, it's close.
So that's the difference. Is you paid too much to get there. And this was the one when Larry and Mike were saying they thought it was close. It's like, yeah, for 2, it's fine. For 4.5, it's not fine.
Come on.
And go
Scott.
halfway between. Hit
Yeah,
the
it's,
3.
Yeah, versus the range that the big block that GTO wizard is using.
Yeah. But
I mean,
now it's
is a limp call range going to be this range here that you're looking at?
I know.
limp call
GTO.
range is gonna have he's gonna have fewer bluffs.
well, yeah, I would argue he's gonna have fuller bluff, less bluffs because it's
Of
multi-way
course.
too. I think that probably, and we also know that he had a king because he called you off. He may have better.
Yeah.
So, I think it's probably a fold.
Yeah.
All right. So now the
It
whole
did
world
keep
knows
going
that.
up.
Yeah, I played like a donk, but you know what, guys? I knew it was coming. That's
Yeah.
why
There you go.
I played the way I played. Because
Well, if you know what's coming, it's a different story.
Which, by the way, is what the guy with Jack said to me. He said he knew it was coming, and that actually bothered me. And I had to try to and I had to
Really?
work on it. And I go, okay, all right. Who
Yeah.
else has got?
I have a hand.
And let's do Larry. We'll do Larry hands, and then we'll do Derek. Did you also have a hand this week? I didn't see it in the chat, but I think Derek said he did. So Larry, why don't you take it?
All right. Let me just find the window. 1 second, guys. That's not what I want. Okay, go back. All right, you guys can see my screen.
We can see Equilab. There we go.
Okay. This is just an example of good slow. I think the correct fast play. I don't know how interesting this is. There's more interesting hands, but we'll go this one first because it's fun to start with the winning hand. All right, multi-way, we flop well.
Did you size up pre-flop, Larry, or is this your new standard?
I use 3 sometimes if like I've copied a hand history link, and so 2.5 isn't in my control V. It's not in my paste, so I'll use both. Mostly I use 2.5.
Okay, so it's not because you had a fish somewhere that you were sizing up.
No. And we get this now. This is the first question. We get a donk, fast play or slow play. What are you guys doing?
I am slow playing because dealer can still make a mistake.
Yeah. What do I
And I
do?
also don't have the nuts.
Yeah, I don't have the nuts. I decided the fast play.
Okay.
I think you can go either way, but I decided we're a little bit deeper.
Yeah. But
Started
it's
a little
barely
bit deeper.
fast. It's barely fast played because you only go to 10. You just click
Yeah.
them.
I click them. We get this.
Oh, he still makes a mistake.
That's kind of a good turn.
Good.
What size are you going to use multi-way here?
All right, we need to get all in against the 121 and we're at 40. So let's
So,
go Geo as if he were the only caller.
so Geo on turn at SPR 3. Let's just double check. Geo on 3 on turn.
I think it's going to be about 75%. I think
Yeah,
it's
it's 80%.
is that true?
According to Joe. So oh, look at me. Now I
Oh.
slow play.
Yeah.
With my 1999 sizing. I think this is fine.
Yeah,
We've got
especially
an unbeatable
especially
hand and we've got 2 players.
Yeah.
And
If you can keep
we're-
both players in, this is just good.
we only lose to 3 combos of 8s and 1 combo of 4s.
Yep. Oh, this is so good.
I know.
Yeah.
So there's only one. And also, I guess I was more clever than I thought. Well, I don't think I did this on purpose, to be honest, but we do get pot size bet left here when they both call. It's
Yeah.
quite good.
Which makes
I
it not
can't claim
Geo.
I was thinking that way.
Yeah, it's not Geo because you would want to if you went half pot. So Geo would be half pot against both of them.
Yeah, good point. And then obviously we're shoving.
Oh yeah, just shove.
So I guess this is an argument for fast playing. I don't call it both. No.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
because the caller ended up being 85, 82-53. The guy who, if you
Yeah.
blasted it, might have gotten out. But of course, we don't know how good his hand was.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay, this is a bluff. You guys can argue get for or against. Open here. Flat. 2 flats. We get a 1 big blind dunk. What are you guys doing? So we know this guy's setting his price, right? But we
Right.
don't have much of a hand. We have a
Yeah.
good blocker hand. That's about it.
I'm not ready to do I don't want to give you what you want because of the other player in the hand.
Yeah, I think that's totally valid.
I'm not ready to do shenanigans 3-handed.
I'm not sure what I do. Yeah, okay. I agree with you.
Right.
Multi-way in the
feel like
middle of the
a call.
sandwich. We're not ready to do shenanigans. However, at that price, we're not folding.
Yep.
Okay, now that gets interesting. Now he increases his donk size. We've got an open ender. What are you doing?
Not folding.
Okay. This is where I get, I think, are you ever raising? Are you ever
Yes.
bluff raising multi-way?
Yes.
Yeah. So I think we've got, so my argument is that generally we know population when it's donking, it's going to be less polar multi-way. However, I think this hand allows us to pull some shenanigans and we get our fold.
Nice.
So this guy probably was on a flush draw trying to set his price. And I think the important thing to take away from this is that this is pretty face up what it is. I think.
Yeah.
Which is not any value, but a draw that is trying to set its price.
Or a 5.
Maybe a 5, yeah. And so here, yeah, I think we get to bluff. Okay. So we're in agreement this is a valid bluff multi-way in the middle of the sandwich.
Yep.
Which is uncomfortable, but I decided to take it this time.
So here's what I think is sometimes going on in their minds.
Mhm.
I don't know this, by the way, because I never thought this and I've never talked to one of them. I'm going to talk to one of them today, by the way, about this specific thing, which is I bet one with a hand like, let's say pocket 7s or a 6 or ace 5, something like that. I bet one. I hope that they fold. They don't.
Okay.
But they didn't raise me. Therefore, they don't have a queen. I have now ranged them to be non-queens because they would have raised all their queens with a flush draw out there. Therefore, they don't have a queen. Therefore, I can now bet bigger and safer. And even if I was on a bluff, I can bet now because they don't have a queen.
They're capped. I feel like this hijack player is capped. Yeah, okay, that's valid.
They're both capped. They both called. One
Yeah.
of them raised.
So, yeah. And so I can use this
So
size.
therefore,
Yeah.
I'm safe. And then you said, no, you're not. He said, oh, I thought I was.
So this is modified Nuffle. This is obviously not a Nuffle play because it's multi-way.
Yeah.
But Nuffle would follow this same betting
Yeah,
pattern.
they actually do advocate in multi-way, like in the situation.
Okay.
They do have a little clause that says um, if it was a pot-sized donk, that they tend to be very value oriented, whereas the normal donk that we see, the smaller kind of half pot or less donks are you would continue your strategy.
So essentially, donkers are betting the equity of their hand. And so when they choose a smaller size, they are they are less than top pair. Okay, cool. All right, one more and I'll pass it on. This is another, I think, bluff. So we open this hand, that's fine. I hope I bet here. I'm not sure.
Were you cut off,
Oh yeah, let's,
or is this a
no, this is a bug. We're in
global
small blind. This
replayer
is blind
issue?
versus blind. Yeah.
Right.
I think I get to bet this with this combo and this texture.
Blind versus blind?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I bet small, which I'm generally, so I don't think we get to fold with this much equity to
No.
this size.
No. You have you have direct equity and backdoor nuts.
We got over, gutter, and backdoor nuts.
You don't really have an over.
Tell me
You can
more.
never bet your over. Your over only wins if it goes check, 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 check. But okay.
Are you sure when it's blind versus blind?
Yeah. Are you gonna bet? When are you gonna bet? When are you gonna bet your ace?
Well,
Maybe
he
on the river?
doesn't need to bet it. It's still an over that gives him equity.
Yeah, okay. Barely an over. It's an
All
over.
right.
You have an over. Go on.
I see your point, because
Okay.
facing an imposition raise.
Yeah.
Just looks pretty nutted. It looks better than, you know, I'm thinking that it's ride range versus ride range, where he didn't three bet.
Yeah.
So he does have like some king 7, king 8. King 8 would be an interesting. I think king 8 would be an interesting hand to do this with.
Yep. Queen 9 with the queen of clubs is an easy bluff here. That's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one. So I think I get a little crazy here. I do. I click it back. Because there's one thing we know he doesn't have, right? Which is this. Tell me if this is out of line. Number one, the sizing is non-GTO, but
No, there's something about the sizing I like, which
Uh,
I'll tell you in a minute.
okay. So we do this.
Yeah.
And we get the brick of all bricks,
Yeah.
and we just go for it.
Yeah, that's what I like about the size.
Yeah, because it set us up with a very dramatic river size.
Yeah, I like it.
Which
that
I actually think I was thinking about in game. I've given myself credit for that.
Yeah.
Knowing that it makes us look nutted. We miss.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys like this play?
Yeah. By not trying to get it all in one street, which is not what you might not do with a flush. You
Yeah.
might be trying to keep him in when you have the flush.
Yeah.
This is very much like how you would play that. You get the money and then you knock him out. I really like that play.
that was the second min raise, Larry, in 3 hands. Have you been coached on something? It's highly unusual.
It is. It's exploitative. No, I think both times I'm what am I doing? I think I'm just learning from the pool. I mean, there's
Ooh,
good players
okay.
at ease of sizing, and I'm unlearning. Well, this is more exploitative, right? Because I'm
No, this one-
setting up exactly what
Yeah,
Scotty
this
pointed
one's
out.
great.
And so I think I'm just getting a bit more exploitative in my sizing there, and I'm just kind of unlearning GTO Wizard a little bit to use sizes I think are more effective against pool.
Okay.
All right. 3 hands. I will pass it on. I have more later if you guys want them.
Derek, you got it. I think Derek is next. If you
Yep.
have a hand. All right.
Got a hand. I'm gonna share.
Good.
Screen 2. Share. Okay, so
Ooh,
this
I
is
like it.
at 1-3. We're about 300 big blinds deep. The button's kind of new to the villain's kind of new to the table. I'm in the big blind with pocket queens.
Mhm.
So, the villain raises to 25 at 1, and he lands in there. It sprays all over the table. No one does that with aces or kings, so I'm thinking that makes my queens look good. He gets one person flat calls the 25. So I'm feeling pretty good. I make it 100.
A little more is my suggestion because of that extra 25 in there.
I agree. What size would you use here, Scotty?
125.
Okay. Uh-oh.
So then the villain repops it to 500.
I don't like that.
That's a huge sizing.
No kidding.
And he has $133 left.
400.
I'm misreading, I'm
Effectively, it's
sorry.
all in.
So, this is very player dependent. I definitely have players that I'm folding. So the two big factors here are he used a egregiously huge size, and he's pot committed, right? He's not going to fold anything. He did this with a player yet to act. So I think this kind of, because I'm very different now, and I am, depending on the player, I am leaning towards fold. I have some players in my live pool who I will fold. Against his size
Yeah.
in his uncapped range, I think that you don't know anything about this player, right?
So I'm thinking this. What's the chance that this is jacks?
Very little.
If you, Derek, if you think this can be jacks or ace king, then you go with it.
I don't think it can be jacks. Like
Oh,
originally,
I thought you said it could be jacks.
yeah. Like originally, when I saw him slam it in, I was pretty sure he didn't have aces or kings. But now I'm
Mm-hmm. Do you know anything else
thinking,
about this player?
he's new to the table.
You've never played with him before?
Never played with him before. See,
I think this is an overfold.
yeah.
One question before we overfold it, and by the way, I'm on team overfold, which is, have we seen him make a $25 open yet?
No.
Okay.
So
Well, then it begs the
he
question, what
goes
is
like
his normal
six
open?
and $3. People just, this is a limpy dimpy game.
Right, but no, this particular guy, when he raised, has he been raising to 10 and
Making
15?
he's been making it 15.
On 15, 15, 15, 25. Okay. I thought it was jacks until he went 500. And now,
So
now I think I think we instantly fold jacks here. So if we have jacks or tens, we fold it. If we have ace queen suited, we fold it. If we have kings, we do not fold our kings. So the question is queens.
Yeah, agreed. I think you can overfold.
Yeah.
I think an important factor is he does not give a fuck about UTG +3. He's like, I'm this hand I'm going with. And you're the only hand that you're ahead of is ace king, I think. I don't think this is ever ace queen, and you're flipping. So I think that this is an overfold.
yep, I laid it down. I stopped for a long time and then I laid it down.
I think it's a good laydown. Yeah. And even if he does this with jacks, by the way, he has twice as many aces and kings as he has jacks.
I asked him, like, as we were cashing out, I asked him what he had. He said jacks, and I was sure he was lying.
Oh yeah,
So,
sure.
Right.
pretty
And he
sure he
might have,
didn't have jacks.
right. Because remember,
What?
my guy made it that size with jacks.
Good
You
point.
know,
Yeah,
yeah.
but
My
like,
guy,
I'm
you
pretty
miss,
good at telling when people are lying.
yeah. But even if he did have jacks that one time, as long as he plays jacks, kings, and aces the same way, he has aces and kings twice as often as jacks here.
Yep.
You can't rule out ace king either though. So you've got to include ace king in here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
He has ace king, yeah.
It's such a big overbet.
Yeah.
Did you find out anything about his player
500.
style after this hand while he was playing? Did he end up being a leggy
Yeah, he's
gambler?
pretty aggressive. He ended up being a winning player. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I think it's a really, really hard laydown, and I think he made a good choice.
I
And
agree. I think it was a good
Larry.
laydown.
Mike, you got hand?
I
You got-
do. You know I do.
Give me two, and then I will load up some more live hands for Larry.
Yeah, I love the live hands.
Got live hands.
Not sure how relevant these are. Okay, queens under the gun, open, 3-bet, and a cold call in the small blind. Heads up with the cold caller who donks.
Mhm.
Highly unexpected there.
Yeah.
First decision, call or raise.
I'm on team call.
Yeah, I think I like a call.
I'm fine
Yeah.
with call.
Yeah, I like
Totally fine
call.
with call.
What can you put him on with this
I mean,
half pot?
his range is going to be very. I mean, it's probably very value oriented.
Mhm.
Based on his cold call of the 3-bet and then a donk into the 3-better.
Yep.
Hmm.
So yeah, call.
Yeah.
Turned the set on a club completer.
I don't love that card does not make me happier. I think you're still beating everything you were beating, but you're losing to one of the things you weren't beating. Okay, so he bets half pot.
Yeah, this was the main decision point that I was struggling with
Okay.
on calling or just getting it in at this point.
Now, there's an argument for both. So an argument for fast playing is that you have a scare card for him, obviously. He does have the nuts. You can't fold. Um, so you shove fast play because you don't want any more scare cards. You don't want any straightening or flushing cards,
Yeah.
which
And
will
not because
shut down
yeah,
your action. I think a fast play here is good.
yeah.
Yeah. I also considered it seemed like he started with 90, but at the time I think I didn't realize how it was still basically a full stack, but this seems stack to pot ratio at this point just seems like it's so small that it's just, why not just run it now if he folds a, I don't know what, ace 10 or whatever it is that he was doing this with, or whatever worst hand.
I like
But and we're only getting called by what? Sets and flushes, right?
He could call you with 10-8, and he could play it weird.
He's
Can
got
he
his valuation.
cold calling 10-8 of 3-bet? It's like that's why I'm not thinking he has too many two pairs here.
I love two pairs, but people play bad.
Yeah, they do. But I don't think he has it very
Yeah.
often. Like it's not a large portion of somebody's cold calling range. But yeah, he wound up, I think just got lucky in that he had queen 10 exactly, but I was a little worried about this shove because
Yeah, but
I'm
that's
not
the
thinking
kind of
anything over
hand. I
20.
mean,
Yeah.
in his reach, his range, this is the kind of hand that you want to fast play against. He's not folding it on turn. I mean, let's think about how he's thinking. So he's a donker, top pair I donk. I improve to the queen. I have two pair. When he's not, he's thinking I've got outs to a boat. I've got outs. So he's going to be encouraged to call. So before I would high freak slow play this, but I really like your fast play here because you want to give someone hope, and they've got hope to, especially somebody who's not thinking about his combos and not thinking about pot odds because he's a donker. He's going to just get this in and think I've got outs. That's my argument.
Yeah.
Now, JD gives the counter. So JD says, just call, and if he checks the river, then you know he doesn't have a flush and you jam for value, which is a perfectly reasonable line, JD. And the thing that we don't like about that line, the reason that the three of us said jam, 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 is because when the river is a club, it's not that you lose to his clubs. You probably do, but they stayed in anyway. We don't care. We stop getting value from the queen 10 because when the river is let's make it the three of clubs, he checks the four flush. If we do jam going, he doesn't have it, he folds his queen 10. So any club could lose us the pot, we don't care, but it loses us his value. Any nine or jack also, while we aren't that worried about losing the pot, sometimes we lose the pot, but if those hands called our jam, we lose the pot anyway. But now he's afraid of the four straight. 8, 9, 8, 9, 10 queen and 8, 10 queen jack. Both those boards keep us from getting the money that we are going to get now. So that's the scary. That's happening less than 20% of the time, at which point we still have some showdown sometimes. Yeah, but JD, we're not worried about the showdown. We're not worried about losing the hand because we're going to lose those hands anyway when he calls. It's the thing is that we don't get his money.
Yeah, I think either play is valid, and I think it really is kind of a coin flip as to which one is a better line.
Right.
And I'll tell you,
I,
sorry, Larry, I thought you were done.
yeah, I really honestly think JD that your perspective on this is fine, and I think you're giving up the power of position here. He's going to be more transparent with his value on river. I just am I just been listening to a lot of Bart Hansen, and he is all about fast playing. And I think this is a particular situation where this guy loves his hand, and yeah, six or one half dozen. And
Except that
so and so you can fast play and you can avoid. It's not. Let me make this clear. It's not because it's a decision. It's an easy decision. Then we don't have to make any more decisions and make any more tough choices on a club when he jams. It's because it's either or, but here it's good because if you looked at his range, it would have both combos. Some combos would fold, some combos would call this. You can go either way.
so we're getting these things, we're getting these tensions that are balancing. The thing that the next thing that pushes me towards jam now, that's pushing it more and more, is let's give him a hand like ace 10 with the ace of clubs. Let's give him a naked ace of clubs. I'm not jamming now because I want him to fold, and I'm afraid I can't get any money from that on the river when he doesn't get there. So my call free rolls him. Now you can, on the other side, maybe he will bluff the ace of clubs on the river when I have it. Sure. So it's not a slam dunk in that one, but there are more and more things that keep adding on my side of the jam there, that it overweights it. Not by a lot, but enough.
I was
So
on.
that if we look at this in the solver, I bet that it's not 100% jam. I bet there's some calling, but I bet the calls are going to be less than 25%.
Yeah, I think
I was on Team JD. If his stack, if he had as much as I did. Like if he had more here, I would
Because,
call. I would just call.
right. Because you're trying to protect your stack or because you're afraid he's of him folding too much?
No, because then I think then he only calls with the very top of his range when I jam.
Right.
I think you got a really good point there, Mike. I think SPR is very important here.
Yeah. And there's a shorthand for this, which is because of the stack, you are never folding. And if you are never folding, then he's free rolling. All right, let's do another hand.
All right, we go to flop
Mhm.
with a broken stack
Mhm.
of B big blind. Good flop for a range. I'm going to see bet this almost always, even with this hand, I think. Yeah, I do.
I agree.
You ever see bet this one big? This board? Because it's king.
Not in that early position. If I
Okay.
was on the button or cutoff, yes, I would be probably B75ing and occasional overbetting, especially on the button.
Okay.
Maybe not with this particular hand though.
Okay.
We call switch, not great, obviously. Pairs queen, which is better for him than me, I think. I wound up checking, I think. Checking back as opposed to barreling on that card. Checks again. Here's where I was like, okay, do I bluff? Do I maybe take some potential showdown here? What's your thoughts? And if you disagree with the turn, let me know that too.
Hmm. I think you can take your showdown.
Yeah, I think I do. I'm remembering this correctly. Yeah.
Nice being a right in a pot like this.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Okay, so that one was kind of easy, huh? I was just being a little bit more concerned about my not being aggressive on the turn and the river. But yeah, okay, so that seemed fine. Doesn't seem to be drumming up any real
Yeah.
controversy.
Well, the turn favors his range,
Yeah.
and so the check behind is good. You would do it with a king, and on the river, you bluff your jack 10, and you don't bluff your ace high. Okay, that's got some sense to it.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Here's one where I will three bet ace four suited at a pretty decent clip. Not sure why I didn't here, but I don't think calling is bad either, obviously. We're not
Yeah.
folding.
Yeah.
We get this flop, which is, I don't know, probably better for us in terms of what flops we can see. He continuation bets B50,
Meanwood
and
check raise here.
I knew Larry would absolutely love this because that's exactly what I did here. Get fold, but yeah, just wondering if
Yeah.
we think
Yeah,
it's
I think it's a great candidate.
Great candidate, and I'm sure that there are times that it only check calls. I mean, meaning that it mixes. I don't think it's 100% pure check raise, but it's a great check raise.
Yeah, I chose the bigger size check raise too. I wasn't too certain if we should be being a little bit more mergy with more like a B50 raise, but I kind of went with the B with a pot size
I
check
would
raise.
go smaller with my eights. I would go, but and trying to generate folds, I'd go bigger, just old school. I like
Okay.
your sizing.
Alrighty.
Yep. And I don't actually know anything about the choice of size. I don't have a theory about that yet. Any theory about that yet? Okay, let's go to this. That's what we want to see. Okay. This is a hand that's titled Too Much Study. So this is playing 1-2-2, and the 1-2-2 game is interesting in that you can't limp for 2. The limp
Really?
you can only limp for 5.
That's
And-
what a kill is called. When you is a kill specifically there's
No,
limping is not allowed.
So you're allowed to kill this game. If you kill it, you put in 5 blind. And then you have the right to raise.
Okay.
And
Is
also,
UTG the only one allowed to kill?
everyone can kill. And when UTG kills in this game, they get to play last pre-flop.
What's the difference between a kill and a straddle? I think I've asked you this before, but
A kill can be anywhere, and a
Okay.
straddle is a kill. A straddle is a kill in the under the gun spot.
it's a kill of thinking that you have any strategic thought in your mind. But
Well, except the straddle, yeah,
I-
you never
I
good.
I think some places allow straddle only on the button, right? Or am I wrong?
some
No,
mostly it's straddle and UTG.
Button straddle, yeah, they call it button straddle. Yeah, you can
Okay.
always straddle in the under the gun position everywhere. Some places also allow a button. There's this thing called, I think it's the Mississippi straddle, where you do it on the button and then the small blind acts first.
Yeah,
It
it kills the game.
Yeah.
It's a horror.
Terrible. It just absolutely destroys this guy. I don't think it's worth it to do on the button to put in the extra money for it. So this guy's a kill, and he's also been killing a lot of hands. This game, so that's his 5 there. The game, as I said, a limp in this game is 5, which is the funny thing, is that it makes you actually do 2.5x, which would actually be a good size. So they don't even see that as anything. So I go to 15, and I probably in this game can go to 20 here against the kill.
Yeah, I think 15 is fine. It just makes you very sad when I have aces or kings and I go to 15 after a straddle.
Yeah.
And everybody folds, but
And
that's the way it
just to
is.
be clear, is that $5 kill, is that blind? Like, or has he looked at his cards?
Fine. He doesn't, no, he has to do that before the cards come.
Okay.
And we get
This is really not good.
massively multi-way.
1, 2, 3, 4, 6 player.
6 players.
This is worse than everybody folding.
Agreed.
I have the king of diamonds. I lose to 10-9. Sure. I lose to pocket 5s. All those hands can be out there. Yep. Sure. This person can have 10-5, by the way. Sure. All that. The reason that I hate this is the reason I checked was not for any of those reasons. I checked probably to check raise, depending on what the action was, like this.
Sure.
Yeah, I like the check.
Behind, but they don't
They don't oblige you.
oblige, and they don't stab enough. And I got this because I've studied this spot of this is a good one to check.
I would check here massively multi-way.
Okay.
Obviously it's a nightmare turn, but I think massively multi-way, your check is good. I think you want to understand where they are and you just get a nightmare turn. All in for what? 2 times pot?
3x pot.
Oh, Christ.
We just fold, right?
Yeah, we just
fold.
fold.
Yep.
We just fold. Yeah. No, that's all that happened. But I just looked at it and I went, that my not betting there. But you guys actually like the not betting there.
Yeah, I mean, I go back to Jonathan Jaffe. I think that, I've said this, probably approaching a dozen times in here. I mean, you really just want to get information, and then sometimes it's going to bite you in the ass, like it did there.
Yeah. Well, the information I got was that I had the best hand on the flop.
I think it's fine to check there. It's just a nightmare.
Okay.
Nightmare run out.
Right. Blind straddle, same thing. Mandatory straddle. This is a different game. This is now we're in the 3-5-10. So the straddle is required. One thing, by the way, about the straddle required. The straddle is not required by the rules. The straddle is required by the game. And there's 1 or 2 people who have not straddled in time that I've been there. Not that day, but in all the time I played at this casino, someone shows up and they said, we're not straddling. I'm not doing it. And my thought sitting there going, I'm happy to straddle with the rest of the table and play a 3-5-10 game, but am I really gonna let this person, am I gonna sit here and let this person have this advantage?
Yeah, that's a really tough spot. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know what to do in this. Number one, I prefer not to play straddle games because I've spent all the time
Yeah.
working in online training
Yeah.
where there are no straddles. So, if you gave me if I was rolled, frankly, to play 3-5,
Mhm.
I would choose the table where straddles aren't required.
This casino doesn't have one.
Okay.
The games are, the games that are available in this casino are 1-2-2, 3-5-10, and 5-10-20.
What about this, Scotty? If it gets up to two people at the table that aren't straddling,
Oh, yeah.
then you go with it. And if it's
Yeah.
one person,
Yeah.
then maybe you just tolerate it. Does that make sense?
That's what I did, and it also mattered how bad a player they were. And I also went over and just asked to be on the seat change list. I mean, on the table change list to get to a table where everybody was playing the same way.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But it bothered me. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, it pissed me off too.
Yeah. So we get a limp. We raise the limp with 9-8 suited.
I like it on the button. I like it.
Yep. And as you can see, these, we don't get a million of them. We get the call there. We flop the straight draw. This is great. Happy to get it. Check. We bet.
Yeah, good.
That's a little big.
I don't think so. Jeremiah Williams,
Yeah, it's fine.
push
Get
your
called.
range advantage. He calls.
Yeah. Okay, great. Ace.
Good hand for you.
Thinking about repping the ace, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yep, rep the ace till he does that.
So he bets about a B75.
Yeah.
Did I get that right? Yeah,
3/4 pot.
that's a tough one.
And-
So
Oh, go on.
you're on the ass end.
Right.
You're not happy about a queen. I think maybe we can overfold.
Feels like a fold.
That's what I was saying is you look at this and you start counting 8 outs, and that's why I titled it this. You don't have 8 outs. You have 4. Because the 8, when the queen comes and he doesn't have the king, you can't get, you have, your implied odds are fucked.
You could be dead already.
And sometimes he has the king. So, and sometimes he has queen king right now. Sometimes he has king jack and king 10 here. Or who knows. But yeah, I just don't feel that the queen, that you can count even. This is a big bet anyway. Like the thing that when Skate was faced with that, with the 75% bet. Yeah, so I just folded.
I mean, there's an argument to be made here, and I'm curious about this, and a lot of really good players will do this. Maybe not to this size, but you do still possess the power of position.
I do.
And he ostensibly is playing face up, but the question becomes, is this ever less than an ace? I think at this sizing, maybe overfold. Really exploitative players will call here and play off their sizing on
The river.
river, or even, if they check.
Yeah.
You're the one, range versus range, he's got better aces, and you've
Yeah.
got significant outs.
Right.
So good players here, what they'll do is they'll call. I'm not saying you're not a good player, of course.
Mhm.
Is they'll call and then they will listen to the sizing.
Right. And I listened to the sizing here.
Yeah, which is fine. It's what I would do. I'm not comfortable enough making hyper exploitative plays depending on what he does on river.
This is the same hand. It just got repeated for some reason. Okay. And then I guess I'll just tell you the jack's hand since I didn't enter it. That's fine. There's our straddle. Limp, limp. I think I can join a limping party with 10-9 suited.
Yeah, this early, I think you can join a Olympic party.
I could, decide to, do a big ISO, but I don't know that it's the best choice. This can't be a bad choice, especially at a game where this is happening.
Yeah, I think overlimp is fine. Burn it.
What do you think? Oh, sorry, we have one more check before it gets to me.
I don't know. I mean,
Jack.
I
yeah,
check.
I could probably check.
I think I need to make it a bluff. That's
20
20.
into 63. Middle
Oh.
pair,
Backdoor flush.
backdoor. For this sizing, I'd probably peel.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not like a heads up pot where we think we have the best hand here almost ever. We almost never have the best hand here. Like I wouldn't check raise this.
Could we argue that SPR is important here? So this is a broken stack, right?
Yeah.
But the SPR is still what?
A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now it's 3.
Yeah. SBR 3.
So I think SPR 3, it's enough to call. And now he makes another small bet. And we don't improve.
Yeah, I think we have to go away now.
Yeah, we just have to go.
Oh no, why did I check raise this? What was my reason for check raising this?
You wanted to rep the
The
flush?
diamonds. Diamonds made sense, yeah, but what was it about this? Oh, this is what it was. It was this. It was
The
this size
sizing.
diamonds. It was this simple. This size is never diamonds. It might be an ace. I'm going to go for 2 streets. This size is never diamonds.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Raise, call. This size is never diamonds, but it could be
Oh,
one.
but now you've got significant showdown and it's 4 diamonds.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. And then we go check, check, and he has. Why do I not have it here? Did I not finish entering this? All right, let me see. Don't even remember, but this was this. What happened was, with the 2 pair, I did not continue the bluff, which it was a bluff, and now it's value.
Yeah. And you're beating all his ace X.
Yeah, and I think
And
I-
unblocking
I
diamond.
it might have been ace with a jack of diamonds or a 8, something like that. I
I
lost
think you've got too much showdown to bluff.
Why did you leave him 8
Marginalized your
big blinds
showdown
on the
with
turn?
4 diamonds. Yeah.
Why did I what?
Why did you leave him 8 big blinds on the turn?
Probably not thinking ahead enough. Let me see, what's going on with this thing? Yeah, I don't know.
He had like ace X diamonds.
Yeah, let's see maybe because, let's see, when I raised this 280, I think I didn't, I may have even bet the last 40 on there. I don't even remember. Because I didn't look ahead. If I'd looked ahead, I would have gone for the 320.
It's an easy error to make, which I also make live. I think it's especially easy when I know you've got tons of live experience. But for me, as a new cash player, I will make this error and leave and not size correctly sometimes.
Okay, let's find. I'm going to just describe this to you because this is a hand specifically for Larry. So here we go. So here's what's happening.
What's a chip weaver?
I'm going to tell you this. What
Oh,
happened?
good.
So this is the day we just had the king hand, right?
Okay.
Check, too much study, and the jam. Then I get moved to the 2-3-5 table. There are people, the game has been playing for a while. There are people there with lots of chips. So you buy in for 1,500, there are people with 3,000 on the table, 3,500. Do you know what chip weaving is? You have a stack of chips and you strum them together with your hand and they weave together.
Oh,
Which is a
shuffling,
sign of a good player.
chip shuffling,
What'd you call it, Mike?
chip shuffling.
Yeah, chip shuffling. It's a sign of someone, they may not be good, but they've been at a table a lot.
Yeah.
Okay? You have to be sitting with chips a lot to do this. And the larger a stack you can do this, the more you've practiced it. So people who are doing this with full stacks of 20, have been at the table a lot.
Do
And
you
they-
do it? Do you chip weave?
No, I've never learned it.
No, neither have I.
I could, I'm a juggler, so it's the kind of thing I could learn. Tim, one of the other jugglers who I play with at the, in our home game, he does it. Never interested me. But when they do it constantly. Like they do it while they're thinking. It's just like this thing to do.
Yeah.
And they know each other. They obviously know each other. They're talking to each other, and several of them are waiting for the 5, 10, 20 game to open.
I'd want to change. I'd want a table change.
I already asked for one. That was the
So-
first thing I did.
Can I divert just quickly here? So, do you mind, Scotty?
Oh, no, absolutely.
Live question. So I went to a new club this week, and on one end of the table, these guys obviously play together all the time.
Mhm.
Also, they're quite rude, by the way. Anyway, at one side of the table, they're playing hands and they're showing each other their hands
Right,
after the hand, and they're not showing it to the rest of the table.
right.
Which I think the dealer needs to call out, show one, show all.
Absolutely. But they do,
So,
you have to ask the dealer to do it. It is uncommon that this dealer does that on their own.
so in that situation, is it inappropriate for me to say, dealer, please show one, show all?
No, not at all. But I would change the one thing in the tone in it, because that assumes that it's the dealer's responsibility, and it isn't.
Okay.
The dealer doesn't have to make it happen. It's your right to ask for it.
Is it appropriate then to say something like, dealer, do you practice show one, show all here?
You could do it that way.
I
Am I
mean-
allowed to? But they do. So you can do it that way, or you just say when the guy shows it, you go, "Oh, mom, show one, show all, please."
Do you mean it? Yeah. Do you mind if I see the hand, or
Yeah, ask for it.
Yeah, I mean, it really put me off. I was
Yeah.
like, what the fuck is going on?
I always ask for that. There are other things I don't get all huffy about, but I get huffy about show one, show all.
It seemed really inappropriate to me.
It is. And you can ask for it, but the one difference is that you're thinking that the dealer was being irresponsible, and they're not.
So the way you do that is you would say to the buddies that are showing each other hands, do you mind if I see as well?
You can say that way. You can say to them, the first time you say it to them, you say, "Can I see two?" Or you go, "Hey," you say, "Great, show one, show all, please."
Okay.
Or please. And then if they muck it or anything like that, or they're all resistant, then the next time you turn to the dealer and you say, "Wait, show one, show all, please." And
Okay.
you make the dealer do it. Because they don't have to physically do it. It's the dealer's responsibility for it to happen, but it's not the dealer's responsibility to make it happen.
So there's one way to do it where after they show their buddy the hand.
Yeah.
And they put it over the line, you can ask the dealer directly, can I see that, please?
Yeah, exactly. And I would just, the very first time I would ask them, because you're trying to keep the game friendly, and I think
Yeah.
that's more friendly than
Okay, yeah, okay.
But the
I don't know
second
if I'm going back to this club, but that's what I'll say. Do you mind showing everyone? Or do you mind showing me as well, or something like that?
Can I see two?
Yeah.
Can I see, yeah, mind showing me everyone? And if they balk, you go, show one, show all. Like we all know it's show one, show all.
Yeah.
I absolutely. So the first thing I did was I went over and I asked for a table change, but that's not going to happen till the table's open. So the guy in low jack -1 opens to 30. That's a standard size. The cutoff calls, and I'm the button, and I raise it to 135 with jack. The under the gun +1 goes to 400, and I call. And already I'm thinking, this. I've got 1,500 in my stack when we start the hand, and he's got over 3,000.
Okay.
The flop is ace 7-6. Couldn't be worse.
Agreed.
And he bets 215. And I stare at him. And I stare at him before I see the flop.
Yeah.
And I believed I saw a physical tell. This guy, by the way, I believed that he was competent already. We had played, this wasn't my first hand there. We played a little bit. I hadn't seen him make any mistakes or anything like that. And I thought that his raise to 400 was not aces heavy. Because it's not it isn't the GTO size. Because, let's see, let's get the order right. He goes to 30, all right, he goes to 30, the button calls, the cutoff calls when I go to 135. So the cutoff's still to act behind him. So he doesn't want the cutoff to call, but he's not going to get that with his out of position sizing here of 135 would normally be more like 350. So not egregiously large, but it felt not aces heavy, not pocket aces.
Got it.
And I looked at him and he wasn't looking at me. And I saw what I thought was a gulp. And there is a two flush on the board. And I don't know if I have the jack of that suit. And I decide not to look at it. And I look at him again and I say, I believe I have a read. I'm trying to learn. It's like I'm trying to trust my reads. Not the only thing, but it's like, go with it. And I jammed.
Interesting. So you told him you believed you had a read.
No,
You
I didn't
s-
say to him I have a
Oh,
read.
I'm sorry. I misunderstood. I thought you said
No,
out loud.
I'm saying to you that I stared at him, believed I had a read, thought to myself, yep. And I bet 1,500.
Got it. And this
So
goes to what we were talking about last time about a couple times ago, a couple sessions ago, we were talking about how important it is to look at someone when the flop comes and look at someone when the turn comes, not at what the turn is. And I am trying to do that.
Yep. I'm
And
doing it a lot.
this is a concrete example of this working.
Yep. And one of the things about it, as I thought it through, was if I have an ace here, like ace king, which I can easily have, I can easily play ace king like this, and I can play ace queen suited like this.
Yeah,
Would
and
I,
yeah,
would
and
I jam? And I probably wouldn't. But if he has what I'm thinking he has here, which is a lot of king, king, and queen, queen, and I play it the other way, the way I would play aces, where I call here, and if he checks, I'm then going to bet with position. That's also, he has to have made the weaker action, so he has a reason to believe that I don't have it. And I've never played with him before, and he's never played with me. And I haven't done anything at the table yet. And I don't know anybody there. So he has no read on me. So he has no reason to think that I wouldn't do this with my ace
Yeah.
on a two flush board. And I just, so, and I didn't think all of that in the moment. In the moment, I thought, I believe it's not an ace. How confident am I? 65%. I'm all in. That's how much that was my thought pattern was. Then after I did it, I thought, gee, that's not what I really would do. But I didn't go that far. That was my thought, that was how far my thought process did. And I was happy that I went for it and happy it worked.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yep.
I'm still working on it. My habit is to look at the cards and think strategy, and I'm doing my best to unlearn that and look at the person.
Yeah. The other thing about this table, it played very different. The buttons, squeeze button calls got squeezed from the blinds. I called ace deuce suited, there was a cutoff raise and I called ace deuce suited on the button, got squeezed. I called 10-9 suited when there was a raise and a call, got squeezed, so it was really clear. And then an hour later, there were 3 new players in the game and the game is changing. And there are 3 players here who I think might be better than me, and the rest have left to go to the other table. That's when the floor comes over and asks, now I could say, do you want to change tables? And I looked at that and 3 of them were over there. I go, no, I'm fine here. Okay. So those are my hands. I have bunches more, but that's enough of that was from the live thing. Oh, here we go. I'll give you one more. We have a guy, we have a new person here. Guy and JD, if you have any, what we're doing is we're doing marked hands. We're just doing our hands that we took notes on this week. So if either of you has a hand you want to talk about, just unmute and tell us and we'll do your hand since you guys haven't been here to do hands. Otherwise, I'll tell you one more of these and like that. So the guy who I bluffed with the Jack, I've been watching him now. Now we're 4 hours later in the day, and I've decided he's the best player at the table. And he's either playing tight or he's just been card dead for a while because he has not played any hands in a while, and that wasn't always his style. The best player opens. I've been card dead also for a while, so I haven't played. My phone rang. I had to pick it up. I look down, I've got queen, and I have to answer my phone.
Ugh.
I raise to 100, put on the phone to say, hold on, I'll talk to you in a minute. And he calls. And I don't know what led me to do it, but I said it to him out loud. I said, you call even with that tell, and point at my
What position is he in?
He's in low jack -1. I've got queen. I didn't mark my position, but remembering where we're at the table, I would have been cut off, probably, maybe hijack, depending on how many people were sitting there at that time.
Okay.
But he was sitting in the 9 seat and I was sitting in the 1, 2, 3, 4 seat. So I don't know how many people were between us. But like that. Flop happened to come down 10-10-6. I bet 70, he calls. The turn is a 7. And I think I have the best hand here all the time. But, I don't think it's a 3 street hand. And so my intent is to go check, and call the river, to take that line. I check, he bets 185 and I call. It's like, I've already decided I'm going to call. And he turns over Jack, which I don't think he should have bet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he should have tried to get value from ace king there. I think he should have checked and, evaluated the size of my bluff if I bluff when I go
Well, you
check.
induced nicely.
Yeah, I induced in a sort of like a safer way than betting it, because betting it reopens the action, and I never reopened the action after
Yeah.
my first one. So, because he could have a 10. There are 10s in his range.
Yeah, sure.
So that was the last of that day.
Winning day?
That was a winning day, and then the next
Oh,
day.
I've got another question for you, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
How
These
how
are my
long?
notes. These are my notes of not putting them in. These are the notes that I took while it was going on.
Okay. How long are you comfortable playing a session?
I'm comfortable 12 hours.
Well,
don't
then
know.
I have a lot to learn because my brain feels fried at 4
I don't
hours,
think-
and it
I
might
don't
be
think-
because I'm paying too much attention to every hand.
No, I don't think, Larry, I don't think you need to do that. I think that might just be a personality thing. I'm hyper focused as a person,
Uh-huh.
there's a reason that I became a juggler. It's because I was willing to practice, hours and hours a day on this silly thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a personality trait. So if you're good for 6 hours, play 6 hours. If you're good for 3, play 3. Play your A game. I don't think I'm a great player. I just think that 10 hours in, I'm 90% of the player I was at the beginning.
Well,
But
that's really good, especially, now that you're in your late 40s, that's really
exactly. Plus,
Mhm.
but the other thing is, while I think I'm 90% of the player I am at the beginning, I also think that I have 300 times more information about the table, how they're playing, 9 hours in.
Well, you take breaks, right? I mean, small breaks.
No, not well, very small.
Yeah.
I will sit out a hand and go for a walk, walk around the tables, but I don't take a 30-minute break.
I think for me, it's important to be able to play long sessions because then I'm deep, and when I'm deep, I can win like 300 big blinds off people rather than 100 big blinds off
Yeah,
them.
not just
I think
that.
it's important. I think for me, I like to win 300 big blinds off people. So I like to play deep. I like to.
Yeah,
I
You're,
think my win rate goes up
right.
for 2 reasons. One, there's more deep stack play, and 2, I'm more keyed in on the people.
yeah,
So
but not just
in the first part, in the first few hours, my job is to flip stacks. So I'm
Yeah, yeah.
happy to flip
You're
for
trying to
100
trying to build the stack so you can win
until I
more.
can get like 500 big blinds.
Yeah, you
So
got more balls than me. When I get up to like 400 big blinds, I'm thinking about getting stacked, afraid of getting stacked. I'm a
Oh,
nit.
I
I
want to
gotta
flip
unnit
for
myself.
stacks. I'm happy to flip
Yeah.
for 600 big blinds.
Yeah. And Derek, what's the max that you're allowed to buy into the game? Is it
Just
100?
100. Just
Yeah,
100.
so that makes
So,
total.
oh, actually,
Quite long.
tomorrow I found a game where it's match stack.
Mhm.
So, and people
That would be
say it's a 1-3 game that plays 5,000 deep. So I'm looking forward to going there.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good game for you
So
because then
I'll tell you how it goes. I might come back and say, oh, I lost 10 grand at 1-3.
Yeah.
But
Is it
Now,
a
Larry-
different casino?
yeah, it's a different casino. But the
Good
rake
luck.
is $15.
oh Jesus God. Wait a minute, $15
Hold
an hour.
on. Wait,
on.
stop.
Hold on. $15 a hand or $15 an hour, $7 every half hour.
No, it's max rake $15
Oh,
Per
Dear
hand?
God.
plus $1 for bed beat. It's at the Brantford Casino.
okay.
So
Your other game is an hourly, right?
Oh my
yeah,
God.
the other game is the game that I always go to is Fallsview, which is $7 a half hour.
I'm never going away from hourly. I mean, let's just look at the numbers. I mean, you're paying, if you
Oh.
win one hand all in, you're paying the equivalent of an hour's rake at your other club.
Yeah.
I'm sticking with the hourly rake. Hourly rake is not, that would not be, yeah, there's no way I'm getting away from that game.
Yeah,
Hourly
but
rake is the best deal going, period.
yeah, because you live in Texas, but not everywhere has Texas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but Derek has a game where he pays hourly rake, is my point.
Oh, okay.
But to go play it once to find out how it plays, because if they're playing if they're playing 1-3 and they've got 5,000 on the table and the standard opening size is to 30, that might make up for a massive rake problem if that's how they play.
That's a good point. You got a good point there, Scotty.
Because remember, how often are you going to pay the rake? You're never going to play the rake because you're not going to play any hands. If it's a 1-3 game and the standard opening size is 10x, you don't need to play pocket eights.
Yeah, you just the one thing I would do, Derek, is if you're going to play in a game like that, well, depending on, like Scotty says, depending on what the RFI size is,
Yeah.
just go look at the differences between a chip EV and a raked environment
Yeah.
flop ranges on GTO Wizard, just so you get some idea of how the
How tight you go.
ranges change.
Fucking okay.
I'm not sure I understand what you're saying, like a chip EV versus.
So when you're playing an hourly game, and essentially rake doesn't matter because it's hourly, it's set. Your ranges should be what are called chip EV. So chip EV means essentially your strategy is not affected by rake in the cash world. However, when you're paying rake, it dramatically changes our strategy pre-flop. And you can see that demonstrated by looking at GTO Wizard and comparing the strategies that they show for chip EV versus the strategies that they show for rake
Yeah,
games.
I think what he's trying to mean in layman's terms is that when you have rake, you don't want to use the passive strategy. You want to use aggression because of the rake. And then in his games in Texas, where there's hourly rake, you get to limp a lot.
Now,
Well, that's
yeah.
not true. I'm not limping.
Okay, but
Right.
people
Limp
are.
after limpers. You get to limp after limpers and you get to call.
Yeah, that.
But I'm not going to open them.
You don't have to play a 3-better fold range. No, you never open that, but you don't have to play a 3-better fold range. So if you look here, classic, in the pre-flop only,
You can go to 9 max.
but here's what I'm saying is
Oh, yeah.
this right here's a chip CEV. This is a chip EV sim, and you can just kind of look at what the ranges look like if you had paid for it, which I haven't.
You might be able to look at it in 9 max.
Let's see if 9max has chip EV.
Chippy, no, they don't. I thought they did.
But that would think the poker coaching app has the 8max on the poker coaching app is no rake.
That's a good point. You can look at peak GTO pre-flop. I compare it to what you see in GTO Wizard.
It's the thing that you can call hands in a non-raked environment that you want to turn into 3-better fold. in a raked environment because once it goes to the flop, money goes away.
Yeah,
And
that.
in California, it's even worse because we don't have a rake, we have a drop, which means the second the flop comes out, more than a big blind is raked away. Ugh. All right.
So, um, so what I expect is that I'll have to play a lot tighter.
Yes, you play a lot tighter and you three bet a lot more.
Yeah,
Now,
tighter and more aggressive.
is there no flop, no drop? Is it rake free pre-flop?
Yeah, it's no flop, no drop.
All right, so then dramatically changes your strategy because you really are incentivized to take this down pre. So in small blind, essentially, then you have no flats. For an example, in the small blind now you have a pure three bet strategy.
Yeah. Which is why, by the way, you've heard that's where we got our no limps in this, no calls in the three bind strategy from. Why we do that simplification is because of the raked environment and to simplify our lives.
So, for example, how tight should what would be my raise first in? If there's like 5% max $15.
A
For each
lot
position.
tighter. So, well, what position?
Right. So let's see. Let's see. We've got not GTO, but we want to see Poker Cruncher. As a quick we can get things here. There we go. So what position do you want to look at, Derek?
Well, button, let's say.
Okay, so this is a standard button range. This is a standard button opening range in a 2.5. These are 2.5 opens in a game with a NL50 rake online.
What does that mean?
Meaning that the rake is smaller than that. Than you have, and it's and I'm opening to 2.5. What's your opening size going to be in this game
I don't know.
from the button? But
Like,
okay,
The
you
thing
wanna-
is that if there's a
What?
drop on the flop,
right. But I mean, so you're gonna choose a standard opening size that you're not gonna vary based on your hand strength, right? You're not gonna split your range.
right.
Okay, so you're gonna do 2.5 or 3 or 3.5 or 4. I don't think you need to go to 5, but if it's a game where if you raise to 5, you get 11 callers.
Okay, let's say I make my standard opening size $10, which is three
$10
and a
one-
third big blind.
3.3. Okay. 3.3 on the button.
I think it's like 45% of hands.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you the ace two because ace two is so profitable there. Maybe. What do you guys think of this for a 3.3 open size?
I think game theory optimal, you'd have to be tighter than that.
On button,
Yeah, on button.
this looks right for button.
Okay. And if you want to go a little tighter, how about that? No tighter than that. That's pretty tight for the button. At 3.3. That's what I think.
Yeah.
And I would still leave this in. But whatever, it's 4 combos.
So how would you get GTO Wizard to spit out pre-flop tables based on the rake?
Because they in some of the cases they give you an option. Like here's a live 10% rake. Some of them you have to pay for to see them.
Oh, so it's mainly paywalled.
Yeah, it's paywalled.
Not all of it.
Right.
So like, what I would look at is I would go to six max. Six max 100 big blind, rake
one's
rages
nice.
are free.
Yeah. Yeah, this one here, we could start with this. The rake size, this gives you like, once you go, if you say I want to go all the way to 3x, it says, given what your opening size is, what's it gonna be? And then
I
we're
don't
not
think it's gonna let you look at this.
have
Hey,
unlocked
100 bigs, there you go.
100 bigs, and then we want,
NL10 or NL50.
yeah, NL10 might not be a bad way to do it. Let's see, do I have that? Yeah,
Yeah,
here,
but the rake is really
here we go.
nominal.
All right, so there's the button range that we talked
Yeah,
about.
that's a good one. Yeah, 45, 41% of hands. There you go.
So it's looser than, it's a little wider. I took out the jack four and the queen deuce. I took out the offsuit nines and it left it in, but you're going 3.3 a little more. The difference is it's not playing the ace deuce and the ace three. And I put them back in because just any ace on the button is just so profitable.
Really?
Yeah, it's even, it's a strange thing. I took out this hand and put these hands back in because because they just are.
I always dislike the offsuit
Okay.
small
Then,
tiny aces.
all right, then get rid of them. Then don't do it. That's fine. I put it back, I put it in, you can take it out. It's not gonna be a huge difference. I also just saw a recent Peter Thiel, Peter Jackson, Peter Thwaite,
Peter Clark.
Peter Clark. Those were all the Peters I knew, by the way.
But if Peter Thiel is doing poker content, let me know.
Yeah. So Peter, I just watched a Peter Clark video where he was saying in a sim where it says ace three is, playable barely, and ace deuce is not playable on the button, that in the real world, compared to the players we play against, given your positional advantage of the button, these are totally playable. They're massively profitable, was what he
Okay.
said. And so I just heard that, and so I said, well, let's not take that out. But you can, if you don't like playing them. And
Under the gun 10-handed, what would the range look like?
tight as fuck. We don't have the three big blind size for it, but let's go with the standard one, just the 9 max. You get to here under the gun. And so we're going to put you one position back and we're going to make your raise size bigger. So let's lose all of this and simplify. And you don't need board coverage. You're not playing
So
against.
you can play eights and ace four suited.
Yeah, since you don't care about board coverage because you're not playing against these guys for the next 10 years where they go, wait a minute, he never has a four here. He has no fours. Yeah, I would.
You can play your ace four, I guess, and
King.
king 10 suited.
Yeah, add all these kings into the 9. Take all these to simplify your life and put them here. Just to actually, I'm gonna. Oh, look, I'm gonna change this. We're not gonna put them there. Because we go to 2.5 and those go away. So here we go. So don't
Yeah,
even play.
10%, that looks right. 10% of hand.
Yeah, don't play queen jack suited.
Don't play ace jacks.
Don't play ace
off.
jack. Play king queen the whole time to simplify your life. So offsuit queens, king jack suited, king 10 suited, king 9 suited. Don't do any of these. Just put it all in the king 9. Ace 4,
and tens.
pocket 10s and up, and decide about 9s based on your mood. No ace.
Yeah.
Derek, since we play live, I posted in the chat live ranges from Bart. So if you want to
thanks.
look it up, you could,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, let's look at those.
DLP.
Okay, great.
I'm not gonna share any probably anymore, but
So he's got under the gun. So he's got yeah, there's his sizing. Okay, here's his range. He's under the gun range.
yeah, there's simple,
7s
simplified.
plus. Yeah. He's got 7s plus, ace 10 suited plus, and ace 4 and ace 5. He's skipping these. So he's going in interestingly tighter. He's going tighter on the aces, but looser on the pairs. King 10 suited. Yeah, I said King 9 suited. Queen 10 suited. I'm folding the Queen Jack suited there. Jack 9 suited, so he's way wider on those. And his Ace Queen offsuit, but no Ace Jack. And no King Queen. So similar
Oh, no.
percentage. He's shifted him a little bit.
Yeah, no
So-
ace jack. No. RFI.
Say that
Thanks for
again.
posting.
Yeah, no. You're welcome. No, I was just saying. Yeah, the ace jack RFI. I think you.
Yeah, he doesn't do it till he doesn't
Yeah.
do Ace Jack till MP.
Yeah.
And having said this, he also this is a 2.5 big blind sizing, and you're going to do a 3.3, so you go tighter. Okay. Do we want to be done?
Yeah, I think we got there. Are you around? Well, I'll let you turn off the
Yeah, let me turn off
recording.
share.
Can I run a
Uh,
quick hand by you guys?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, sure.
absolutely.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Very
that'd
quickly.
fun.
I
You want to
was
share
new
the
on the
screen?
site and just stumbled upon here, but we don't have much for casinos where I am. I play a lot online, so 2 questions, but I play in a home game. It's 100 big blind, $100 max buy-in, dollar single blind, but it plays like a 1-3.
Gotcha.
7-4 of hearts, from the small blind limp in, big blind to a limped pot. So there's one other limper. I limp from the small, the big blind raises to 4 times. Middle position folds, I call. Flop comes 3 jack 5. So I've got a gut shot.
Pause 1 second.
Um,
I want to get one piece of information here.
Yeah.
This is a home game, so it's not raked per hand, right? It's a-
we do rake it.
Oh, okay. How much is the rake?
I think it's a $4 max.
Okay,
It's pretty small rake.
gotcha. So it's linked to
We
you.
have
You
a
7-4 suited, and you complete from the small blind. Okay, go
Yeah.
on. So now,
He raises, I call, I check the flop. The flop comes 3 jack 5, so I've got a gut shot. I check. He continuation bets, which is what I expected him to do. So I go ahead and call to protect. Turn comes a 6.
okay.
So
Let me
I've completed the straight. I check again.
Let me write
He
in.
bets out approximately 10 big blinds. And I decide to let him, he's fairly aggressive, so I decide to let him keep driving. And so I call again. What do I do on the river? River's a blank.
Okay, so the flop is just because I didn't get it written down, I want to write it down so we can
3 jack 5 rainbow.
3 jack 5 rainbow. Okay. He bets. You
He
check.
bets 6 big blinds. I
He bets-
check. He bets 6 big blinds.
Call. Gotcha. The turn is the gin card, which is the 6, right?
Yep.
And we don't care what the suit is, like that. And you check, and he bets how much?
I think it was 12 big blinds or something like that. He bets $12 to $16, something along those lines.
Okay, good.
So in theory, with a straight, even though it's 4 to the straight on the board now, you can fast play because you're unblocking all his value, right? You're unblocking all his jacks. You're not interfering with what his value region is. Now, you
Right.
made a good point in that he could be just kind of, he has a high bluffing frequency here.
Yeah.
And so then maybe you want to just let him continue. So I think
But I
I'd
want to get
prefer-
value. So do I fire for value on the turn and raise him? Or do I, because it's a little bit disguised, the straight is, but I did limp from the small blind. So if he has any knowledge of the game at all, he might say, okay, he could be sitting there with the
Yeah.
straight cards, but I don't put that much, I don't know that I give him that much credit to know the
Well,
difference.
Well, then I would check raise a lot on turn.
Yeah.
I would take I think you have 2 options. You fast play, check raise turn, shove river. Or if you are choosing to take the slow play line, which is fine, then you don't lead or don't donk on river. Instead, you let him bet out again, and then you shove.
What was you
Yeah.
said what the river was, but I didn't write it down. What was the river guy?
Actually, I didn't know what I didn't even write that down. I just got to that portion and I went, oh, I wonder if I should lead here. I wonder if I should, I didn't write down the completion of the hand. I won it. I just
Yeah.
don't remember. This was, 2-3 weeks ago, but when you guys said I looked back through my hands and this one was one that's what I couldn't decide. Do I check raise the turn, shove the river, or do I just call? But I can't either way. I can't check the river with a straight. I mean, I have to.
Well, I would
I
argue,
have to make a play on the river. I can't trust him to bet because I've got too much value with my straight, right?
and then I would say that your preferred option is a check raise turn.
Yeah. I think that I think if you want to go with a consistent line, you play it one of two ways. And the one you did is the one that navigates between the two. Check raise turn, bet river, or check turn, check river.
Got
or
it.
donk out on the turn.
Yeah.
I'm not on donking. I'm against donking turn.
I prefer, I mean, this is an aggressive player. I think I prefer a check turn, check raise.
Yeah. And then my other question was because there's not a lot of casinos here. I play predominantly cash game during the week when I can find one and tournaments online.
Right.
And is there a good I hear a lot of players and Jonathan will talk about heads up displays and stuff like that. I played coin poker. I don't like that site just personally. It's just hard to navigate. I've
Right.
played Poker Bros, which I really enjoy that site quite a bit. But is there a program that cracks hands and stuff like that? That's the main thing, is just being able to look back
Yeah.
at hand
So,
histories and stuff.
so you can get a plugin for what, are you using Poker Tracker or are you using Hold'em Manager?
Not using anything right now.
So on Poker Bros, you can track hands. It's a little complicated.
Yeah, I've done it.
But on Coin Poker, you can too. You can email Coin Poker and they'll send you your hand history.
They
Oh,
will?
really? Okay.
Yes, Coin Poker. If you email Coin Poker and say, I'd like to have all my hand history, please, they'll send it to you.
Oh my God.
Wow. Okay.
But you can't play with a HUD on coin poker.
You can, but it's not technically legal. But there are plugins for Coin which allow you to have a HUD up.
Okay.
What I
Okay.
would do if I were you is I would. So you can. It gets complicated, but essentially you get. So Poker Bros is supposed to be on phone only, but you can get emulators for your computer that emulate a phone. So what
Okay.
you do is you install these emulators on your computer. You then get plugins which are available, which will digest the hand histories on Poker Bros. Sorry, I said Coin Poker, Poker Bros. And then they will feed them into the HUD. And because there are usernames on Poker Bro, you can begin to get a history of the HUD stats for your opponents.
Okay.
Yeah, if I were to play on Poker Bros, seriously, I would get emulators, put them on my computer, get the plugin, which allows me to digest the hand histories and plug them into my HUD, plug them into my tracker. I use Hold'em Manager and take it from there. If I were you though, I would get Poker Tracker. More people use Poker Tracker and it's easier to kind of transfer information between people. I would use Poker Tracker.
These are the
Okay.
managers. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. And going back to this hand, I know that that you get to the river and you go, oh gosh, what happens if it goes check, check, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Don't want that.
Right. If you could think of it this way, either you trust that he's at that he's in the part of his range which is strong enough to call a bet on the river, in which case you can get even more value by check raising the turn and betting the river, because think about how much bigger your bet gets to be after a turn check raise. How much
Right.
bigger the pot is huge, right? So that's targeting the
Mhm.
top of his range, or you're targeting the lower part of his range by just calling here and allowing him to bluff the river into your straight.
Right. Right. So it's where it really, so it comes down to the read you have on him.
Right.
If he's got a middling hand, he may not call a shove, but he might lead to steal a smaller pot.
Right. And
Yeah.
what you've done, while what you've done makes money, what you've done is you've navigated the thin line between the two extremes, between the lobes. So there's the very passive lobe and the very aggressive lobe, and you've chosen the passive aggressive lobe.
Right.
We
Right.
all know, how great it is to live life as a passive aggressive person.
Thanks for letting me jump in late.
Yeah, no, happy to. Congrats on your straight.
What's your schedule next week,
Uh,
Johnny? You
okay.
here?
Did we stop the recording already? I think we did.
I don't know.
I think we
I
did.
think so.
I think we did. I'll check it at the end.